Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I am Gillian Berry, and I am so excited for today's video. We have an absolutely amazing guest. We have Dan McDonald, the legend, as many of you call him. He is the Life Regenerator on YouTube, and he is so well known in the raw field. And I am so excited to interview him today. I have so many great questions for him about raw living foods, cleansing, so many great topics. So you guys are going to want to stick around to the end. And you guys, my viewers, I reached out to you. You guys have some awesome questions for Dan as well. So let's get into it. Be sure to subscribe. Let's say hello to Dan. How are you today? Thanks so much for being on the channel.
Thank you, Gillian. This is great. You're an awesome host.
Thank you. I am so excited to talk to you. So there's so many things I want to ask. First of all, I would love to ask, I don't know how long you've been raw vegan and what led you to the raw vegan path. So some of my viewers were asking that as well. And I wasn't sure, like, were you sick and how long have you been vegan for?
That's a great question. I found the living foods lifestyle about a little over 21 years ago, in October 2000. And it wasn't like anyone else. I wasn't sick per se, unless you consider drug addiction, alcoholism, homelessness, cigarette junkie, womanizer, a disease. I was still so young at the time. And luckily, what's so crazy is that I had been juicing off and on, well, actually juicing continuously, organic juicing for 28 years. My parents bought me a juicer. And so I would, when I had a place to live, I would use that. And so they bought me a Champion juicer when I was 19 because I started lifting weights. And so honestly, I have no idea why they decided to buy a juicer, because it was the most random thing. But anyways, I didn't really know about raw foods. I didn't really understand that. So between drug binges, I would be drinking wheatgrass. So it was this crazy thing, because I started with the bodybuilding at 19. My girlfriend broke up with me, and I was heartbroken. And then, of course, you got to do something with all that testosterone and energy. So I went to the gym. And then my parents saw that. They bought me the juicer. Then I started just juicing carrot juice. So I did carrot juice for a long time, and then carrot apple, ginger. And then I saw Jay the Juice Man Kordich talking about the benefits of parsley, and I was like, oh, I got to put parsley in my juice. And I read a few books. And so I'm lucky like that I'll read a book on like organics. I'll be juicing and I'm like, oh, the juicing book at the store, right? I'll buy the book, Sherry Cow Balm, Jay the Juice Man, Norman Walker, and a few others, Steve Meyerowitz, Bernard Jensen, etc. And I read the books and like, organic, pesticides will kill you. So I was like, okay, that made sense to me. And so I just went, I was organic person, but that, I did a lot. Took me forever. To this very day, I'm still working on it. The whole trip to apply the knowledge, and so anyhow, juicing. But, also like a carnivore at the same time, going to the gym, me and my brother working out twice a day, eating like chicken and like 24 eggs and steak. So like a carrot juicing carnivore,
I love it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was cool, but then there was also just the addictions, which, the worst addiction kind of was after I left Aberdeen, Washington. I think I was around 21 years old. I left Aberdeen, where Kurt Cobain was from. It was really depressed logging town. And that's when the worst of the addictions ended. The meth was the biggest one. And so that's why when people are like, Dan McDonald, you're crazy. It's like, yeah. I mean, I can't argue with that, because I've been through a lot, and I really, really burnt the candles at both ends and took a blowtorch to the middle. So all this has a point. I'm trying to just create a little bit of a context, and this is my style anyways. I guess people like it.
I love it. People love it.
Okay, cool. It's just, so I gave away everything, you know, for the third time in my life. I've given away everything 10 times by now. I just left Hawaii too. I just gave it all away. Stuff, no, freedom, number one, you know, freedom. Stuff, it's cool. Like a juicer is cool, useful, but stuff, see ya, freedom. That's the DTM way for sure.
And
But
sorry to
anyway,
interrupt. How do you detach from stuff like that? I know it's so easy to be attached to things, like get attached to a home and used to it. Like, how do you just easily do that for people who have a hard time doing that?
I guess the spiritual woo-woo answer, which I really love, is to know your true self, to know that your heart is the treasure, you know, that you, this thing, the joy, and then that's the internal, that's already there. Is it, how much is it covered over with? And so do you own your stuff, or does your stuff own you? And really, if you look at it, a lot of times your stuff owns you. That doesn't mean you can't be a king of a country and still love the truth and be a steward to the people. Too bad we don't have more politicians and presidents and stuff that live that way. But usually those people end up in caves, or they go in their little dark room over here and they just sit quietly because they love the, you know, the joy of stillness and the sweetness of surrender, you know, just being without all the management of the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of ends up owning you, especially in a world like this with all the red tape. And so it doesn't mean one way or the other, but most of us would do very well to simplify down to the bare bones and see what that's like, to have time to nurture and nourish, not necessarily your body, but your being. But the body is also, it's nice to have time to rest it. Most people are stressed, you know, 4 kids, 2 houses. It's just like a lot of stuff. And you have to be a good steward to that too. But simplifying your life, showing that to your children, you know, is very good for the brain and the nerves and the spirit, which we forget because we live in a materialistic world and we lose contact and connection with that which truly matters for all of eternity, you know, and that can be an experience that just oozes in every pore of your body. But if you forget it, there's no greater hell on earth. And I think that's why so many people are suffering, and why I, you know, this one is finding his way back and seeing how hard it is to let go. How hard it is to let go of being the life regenerator. I never had a huge ego about it. That was just a defense mechanism for, you know, my underlying lack of self-worth, really. And so there was really down, and then the YouTube kind of brought me up, and it showed me with all these great people that are around me that I've talked to over the years that you know, you are valuable, you know, to the right person.
Absolutely.
But now you learn it when you're on your own, by yourself. Like, you learn to love yourself for yourself, you know, and you see that yourself, capital S, is love. And so you just, it's really a process of, you know, the layering of the onion is everyone's favorite example, because you can see that. And you're just peeling away all the debris, you're surrendering it, the sweetness of surrender, to really be, you know, letting go of everything that is so tight. And that's what I'm doing now, and that's what I've been doing for the last, well, this whole time, but more and more conscientiously, less and less needing anything from the outside world, and more, you know, relying on the infinite, you know, that part of ourselves that is prior to birth and after death, the undying self.
Mm-hmm. And how would you suggest people who feel so disconnected from themselves, how would you suggest they sort of feel more of a connection and get that connection back? People who are feeling like their sense of worth is tied to their things and they're just feeling like tied up in the matrix and so much stimulation every day and they feel like they don't even feel connected anymore. It's like people who live a busy life. In your opinion, like how do they connect to themselves again?
I guess there's a million answers to that, but the first one that pops into my head is to learn to take time to be nothing and to be everything. You know, like we are, the ego is one ray of light coming into a dark room, but the self is all light. And the small one strand of light that is the human ego disappears into the vastness. And then along with that, all the stories, all the tensions, all the expectations, all the shame, all the guilt, all the fear, all the attachments, all the aversions, and you can just realize, you know, that you are just pure awareness.
Mm-hmm.
I love the body. It's a
Mm-hmm.
really cool thing. And I think that the body is our, you know, greatest possession, the one that we should take the most responsibility for. But the body really is a manifestation of the inner workings. So it's, you know, to steal Sadhguru's inner engineering. I like that, the way that he says that, because it's true. You're dismantling, you know, and there is no really reconstruction of anything because it's already there. The treasure is already there. The love is already there. The peace is already there.
Mm-hmm.
So enlightenment isn't really the acquisition of something new. It's simply a manifestation of what was already there once the mud settles.
Mm-hmm.
And I do consults every day, and I know how hard it is for them to let go, and I know how hard it is for this one to let go. But as it becomes a practice and you have more and more faith, then, you know, there's just a little bit more faith and a little bit more ease every day as you mature and let go of the world. And the more mature folks know what I'm talking about. After a while, you know, the things don't bother you as much. You know that people aren't always going to understand you, and especially in a dualistic world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm working on that still. People, you know, the ego is always in the defense mode of people not really understanding, you know, like, you know, why I work for Paradigm, or, you know, why I eat the way I do, or why I live the way I do, you know. And I
love Paradigm, by the way. Paradigm's amazing. I use their products too. And I'll link all your stuff below too for anybody who's interested, but their products are amazing.
Yeah, and it took me a long time to realize that. Lou had to I had to keep hanging out with Lou and having my own experiences with it. And then you see the brilliance of it. It's really ingenious.
And he, like, to me, he just looks so healthy and he just like embodies like health. And I feel like that's why I believe in his products so much too. And I tried them for myself and I absolutely love them.
It's a frequency, really. In a world of low frequency, the Paradigm is a high frequency. And so it allows you to bring something in, not only the physiological effects of basically what I call, all those products are really fertilizer for the gut microbes. And
the gut microbiome, it's so important. You know what? I realized that the last few years, because I used to have an autoimmune condition. And then as I changed my gut and ate so many living foods, I realized after 2 years, it was totally gone. And I was severely allergic to gluten. They were like, you'll never get rid of this. Like, it's celiac, right? So I know the importance of the gut microbiome. It's part of the reason I love those products too.
Was it the gluten or was it the glyphosate?
I believe it was the glyphosate and a weakened gut from the glyphosate and from like having antibiotics and like a lot of other stuff throughout my life. Right. So I think like had I had a stronger gut, then I wouldn't have had developed those issues. But I think definitely the glyphosate is what did it.
Yeah, it's still people. That's why, you know, I know why I do what I do and why I say what I say and promote what I promote. And if it wasn't that, it would have to be another company, but that was just the one that I found that gave me the foundational tools. Robert Morris has some incredible stuff to use, you know, and there's some other things out there, and I've tried them all and they're all great, but I think that just Paradigm, it's kind of got it all and it's simple, you know.
And
You
you've
know,
been around, like you've been just in the health field for so long. You've been around so many people. Who do you feel like, is there anybody you've met that stands out as feeling like the healthiest person you've ever met? Or if you don't want to say one person, I mean, I totally respect that. But is there anybody that you feel like this person is the healthiest person I know?
you know, health is, it depends on your perspective, you know.
True.
There's physical core strength, you know, and that, like Lou Corona, after 50 years of raw food and 240-day water fasts and mountains of enzymes, has a very powerful core strength, you know, and a very powerful mind that he guides and directs, you know. But like, let's say my friend Tavis, he's my best buddy, you know, he's the reason why I came here. His nervous system is just, it's, whereas with Lou, it's his nervous system, he's really, you know, I'm not saying that's a negative thing, but like Tavis is just the way he lives and what he does, he's like a nervous system expert. And so
Wow.
nothing bothers him. He just,
That's amazing. I would aspire to be like that. That's amazing.
and that's what I'm working on now myself. But like, there isn't really, you know, there's a lot of really great healthy people. I mean, look at how beautiful Johnny Juicer is. Look how beautiful Nina is. You know, I mean, she is healthy. That's why I used to get pissed. I don't get pissed anymore. But when people would attack her and stuff, I'd be like, "You idiots! I just hung out with her yesterday. I mean, she has the most perfect, beautiful woman."
She is. I saw her in Costa Rica once on the beach, like 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. She looks amazing in person, like even more amazing than her videos. She just looks so healthy and so good.
Yeah, she really does it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering, like, did you always feel this spiritually connected and have this spiritual side, or do you feel like the living foods sort of led you down that path? Like that's been the case for me, but what about you?
Well, we'll go back to the story that we began in the beginning, but you know, my very first conscious experience on planet Earth was asking Ernie and Bert were on this puppet bus, and they were talking about the light of Jesus, you know, and there was all the parents and the kids, and you know, my parents weren't there, you know. Well, my dad was at work, and the bus was parked in front of my preschool, and Ernie and Bert were there talking about the light of Jesus. So I was like, word, dude. I walked right up to those puppets, man. I was like, I want that.
I love it. Yeah.
That was my first conscious experience at 4 years old.
Wow. And you remember that?
Yeah, well, that's the first thing I remember about this life. And I think the reason is because I blocked a lot of it out. And there's a lot of reasons why. I had a little bit of a rough go from conception until I found this unraveling process of the living foods. And it's been one hell of a roller coaster ride since then, you know, because I'm not going to lower my standards, period. I don't even care if I ever reach the goal. I'm not going to stop climbing the mountain. It's just the way I am. I'm stubborn, unless the inner spirit says stop, you know? And so, yeah, that's a whole other thing there too. But when the Ernie and Bert were talking about the light of Jesus, I just walked right up there and I said, that is what I want. And they were like, okay, you'll have to wait till the end of the show and then we'll pray for you. And I said, no, I want that right now. You know? So then Ernie and Bert were like, okay. And they were talking, you could hear the puppeteers talking, you know, And then they go, okay, well, dear Jesus, come into this boy's heart, you know? And I was like, I'm badass, I'm the king of the world, dude. And I just walked right off that bus. I wasn't interested in Ernie and Bert or puppets. I wanted Jesus. Now, why didn't Dan McDonald die, OD, end up in a dumpster, you know, 2 cases of beer bottles, driving with one eye closed, you know, how did he survive all that? Because it was just enough to, you know, just long enough to go to prison to realize I don't want to be there, but never got busted for this stuff that would have put me away for a lot longer, never died, never OD'd, saw a lot of other people OD. I don't know, for some reason, Dan McDonald cannot OD. Even if he does 4 times, 10 times as much as everyone else. He's just got this, because I was trying to break it. I was trying to break the sadness with the drugs. I was trying to transcend, you know, and that's what drugs are doing. That's what we're all doing with food and drugs and sex. We're trying to transcend. Pretty soon we get wise and we realize, okay, that didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't work. The money doesn't work, the fame doesn't work, the likes don't work, the sex doesn't work, the food doesn't work, the drugs don't work. And then finally you go, you know what, maybe there's another way. And that's when you hopefully get introduced to the teachings of the illuminated ones, who will then help walk you through the process. And that's what we call, you know, the spiritual, I call it the way to the other side, the beyond the beyond, you know. Enlightenment, I guess, is the most popular term. I don't like to, you know, water things down, you know, and just, it's real to me. It's very real to me, and it's dear to my heart, because they are the ones who are helping to dig me out. Their knowledge, their frequency, you know, knowledge is the real food to feed your soul. And then what good is knowledge if you don't act upon it, you know? So I'm one of those people that, like, I might be this kid who reads these juicing books because my parents bought me a juicer and the only recipe I knew was carrot juice, but I would read it and it would say, pesticides will F you up. So I got that, and then I'm like this organic, you know, I'm like this homeless organic drug addict.
Wow,
So
what a contrast. Yeah.
well, but there was some ins and outs and ups and downs, all the while the higher, you know, working and the lower clinging. And so it was just this, and to this very day, you know, it's so that's what I'm trying to unravel, is that, you know,
during those hard times, sorry to interrupt, during those hard times, did you ever feel like, I just don't want to do it anymore? I don't want to be here anymore. I know a lot of people feel that way when they have hard times, and then they're made to feel like they're crazy or something. But I mean, this life can be hard, right? Did you ever feel like, I just want to give up when you were going through like such hard times like that? Or no? Did you think that's not an answer?
When I was younger, I had suicidal tendencies. And during 2021, I also had a hopeless stint where I didn't want to, I didn't really want to even go to bed because I didn't want to have to wake up, which is really rare, but it was because of circumstances in my life that I'm all too aware of now that just actually got resolved yesterday.
Wow.
Over the text. You know, COVID came and I made some decisions and I let go of my little yogi cave and I, you know, made some decisions, and I was having a hard time because the mind says one thing and the heart is trying to say, you have this other, you know, destiny that I have planned for your individual soul. Whereas you are, and so you're the man brain trying to make one thing work, but then the God in you is telling you from the very beginning, this is not the one, this is not the way to go. You are, go home, end this, and do what you're supposed to do, but I didn't listen.
Yeah, that's a battle a lot of people face, I think, trying to just, you'll know in your heart and your gut, like what the right path is. And then sometimes you'll make a decision and then your head just gets in the way and you start thinking, should I, it's just a battle, right?
It really is. And if there's a battle between the head and the heart, always follow the heart. And that's why I try to share with as many people as possible the path of meditation, the path of sensitivity, the path of awakening, the path of attention and awareness, so you can learn about the messages of the gut, the messages of the heart, the messages of the mind as a receiver, to get the thinkingness out of the way and turn your frequency into the highest that you possibly can. And then you say your prayers, not, dear God, give me stuff or give me power, because how can you'll get there when you earn it, when you deserve it. The money and everything will come as you earn it, but you just pray for wisdom, or you pray for insight, or why am I doing this to myself? What's blocking me? Show me the way. So I wake up at 4:30 in the morning, and then I pray. And then I meditate. I'm beginning to see the beauty of that, of praying first about whatever it is that's going on. And then you meditate, then you get the mind out of the way, then you receive. Meditation is sort of, not really, but meditation can be listening to receive guidance, but then it also is to go to the next level is to just be, and then everything dissolves, all the questions dissolve. So there's different levels of awakening. And, I recommend everyone shoot for the highest, the most high, but that's also just like an Instagram-y kind of YouTube-y, I'm special. And I don't want to have any of that. I try to be very careful that I don't fluff it up, because it matters so much to me, like God and the truth.
Me too. And is that how you feel you connect to God most, through like meditating? Like, are there ways? My favorite book is Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. I don't know if you've read that, but it's my favorite book of all time. So, or one of them. I mean, I love it. But I know in that book, he talks about different ways to connect to God. So do you feel like meditation does that for you? Or are there other ways that you feel like you can like almost like have a conversation with God or connect with God?
I mean, I think at some point we realized that everything is God, even the unpleasantness. And so we just stop, okay, that's there. And so we start identifying with just pure awareness. I mean, are the vicissitudes ever going to end? Or do we just realize that we are not, I think however much we identify with the body is how much, of course, we get to take credit. I got the big muscles, we got genetics or whatever, or I made all this money, but then you also have to identify with the exact equal opposite effect of that. Like, oh, I lose my money, or, oh, I'm nervous and I never go anywhere or do anything because I work 80 hours a week. Now my wife just left me. So yeah, I've got all this money, but it's totally screwing up my life or whatever. So you're trying to stay anchored in the big self instead of the small self. And then until you completely transcend, which is like 1 in a billion, you just be a steward to the small self, and you try to just care for it and be gentle with it. You're not forcing anything because it's already there. It's just, do you have the courage to let go? And so suffering and pain, especially in this life, I don't think I would have such a great relationship with the all in all, or God, or truth, if I didn't have so much trouble and challenges and pain and suffering. So
Yeah. And I feel like having all that, it really helps you have compassion and be there for other people when they're going through that.
yeah, it's definitely easier said than done. But I think it's a reflection of having compassion for your own experience.
Mm-hmm.
And then it comes naturally without really ever, you can see victimhood,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can see the true seeker, who's actually looking for a way to dig themselves out,
Mm-hmm.
and really wanting to do the work and just lost and confused and unaware on all the various levels. And then you can see the one who's like playing victim and never
Mm-hmm.
really plans on. And I've done thousands of consults, so I know who is going to do it and who's not. So how
Mm-hmm.
much energy I want to invest in that person. What I've found though is when I raise my prices, I don't really get too many of those anymore. When I used
That's
to do
good.
consults, I used to do free consults, I was wasting my time because I had people that it was just victim stuff. And
And
I
it must
knew,
be kind of draining, right? That must be kind of draining on
oh,
you. Yeah.
dude, when someone actually gets it, like if a young man calls me and it takes us 45 minutes to figure out why he's weak, because uh, this is an example. I hope the guy isn't watching, but if he is, I'm not saying your name, but like there were just, if you're weak and sick because you're masturbating every day and it takes me 45 minutes, and then you realize that, I guess I could have used a better example, but
No, it's good.
and he goes, oh my God, I never thought of it. And I'm like, they do no nut November. Well, try the DTM plan, no nut ever,
Mm-hmm.
That's what I
Mm-hmm.
recommend to all the young men, unless they're going to make a child or something. But that's pretty high level stuff. But there's another example of, say, there was this young man and he was on a budget, but he was always having gut problems. And I was like, so you're eating organic, right? And he's like, well, no, and I'm like, well, I mean, with the way they spray, you have to eat organic these days or you will be. Some people have stronger constitutions and better microbiomes from vaginal birth and
Mm-hmm.
breastfed, and
Breastfed, yeah.
everything good happens, so they can handle a lot more. But we see now that the pesticides are just, you have to avoid them, and
Mm-hmm.
so little things like that. And now that I get paid for all consults and kind of gave up the free ones, not that there wasn't every once in a while somebody who really was financially broke and really did want to change. But it's just that, so that's a touchy subject too, because of course you want to help, but that's what the free videos are for.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a
And you
whole,
produce so much awesome free content, right? So, I mean, and to me, like, you're so knowledgeable, your consults should be at a premium, I feel like, especially at this point. I'm wondering, you're 100% organic? And are there any foods that if somebody's like, oh, I can't afford to do all organic or I can't do all organic, like, are there some foods that you think like absolutely stay away from that are conventional?
oh, well, I mean, that's the thing. No, I'll eat inorganic avocados.
Mm-hmm.
I will even cut open inorganic watermelons.
Mm-hmm.
And because there's organic certified, then there's truly organic, where the farmer down over here that picks these oranges, they don't want to pay $5,000 a year just to get a certification and have to whatever, they're just picking the dang oranges off the tree. But there are certain foods like oranges, even bananas, and avocados, watermelons, etc., that inside is purity, because it's connected. Oh, I wonder if oh boy, I hope I
So,
put my thing on airplane mode. I might not have. Hopefully
oh, your
nobody.
phone?
Yeah. Anyways, because I just saw a text, but I might have forgot to do that. Anyways.
I don't see anything on here. So,
Okay. Anyways, sorry about that, but I
no,
just,
it's
because
okay.
if I'm in the middle of these videos, from my elite video club or whatever, and someone calls, it sucks. So anyhow, there are foods that can be eaten, but I wouldn't eat inorganic blueberries, lettuce, celery, anything, any greens I wouldn't eat inorganic because it's like direct spray. So you just have to be, you know, sophisticated, because if you were always looking for ripe organic avocados, you might be having trouble, you know. So you actually have to be real smart about it, and you can avoid pesticides for the most part, not the ones that are water soluble just coming out of the rain, but in the parts per billion as opposed to the, you know, or parts per million as opposed to the parts per billion, you know what I'm saying? So a little bit you can handle, but when you take lentils or wheat that has been sprayed because they use it as a desiccant to dry it, the farmers, they used to have to wait 10 days, 14 days for the wheat to dry. Well, what if there was moisture in the air and it molded, or what if it rained? So now they spray it, the lentils, the grains, the oats, the wheat, and it dries it up a lot more rapidly. Obviously, you know this, but then it's just super concentrated, rip your guts apart.
Exactly. And so many people don't even realize the effect that has on the gut, you know?
And that's restaurant food and breads and things like that. You know, bread isn't really a bad food, except for the modern bread is, you know? So you just don't eat it. But in and of itself, it's something we've been doing for quite some time as a species. And although, like, as a live food person, you know, which is highly recommended for everyone who's interested in pretty much optimum human performance, including carnivores for that matter. You know, anybody, everybody, because of the way that the heat changes all of the components in the food and then alters it, and then, you know, kind of disorganizes all the energy, so that the organizational energy field, even in a piece of meat, is now by heat changed. In an egg changed, in cheese changed, in an apple changed, you know.
I know,
Juice.
it's like when you see that picture with like the apple and the vibration, the energy, and then you see the meat, and it's just like, you know, it's like
the
nothing.
organizational energy field is what they're called.
Yeah.
And that's the geometric shapes that if you cut it open and you look at it under a microscope, you're like, oh my God, fruits and vegetables are made out of microscopic stars. You know, everything in nature, especially the fruits and vegetables, you cut it open, it's like star. You look at the pomegranate, you look at star fruit, you look at oranges, and if you looked at it under a microscope, you'd see that it's actually like perfectly organized starlight atoms, you know, oscillating with light. And when we cook it, we just alter that. The heat transforms it, binds everything together, and makes it a lot harder to digest, and disorganizes all of the hydrating principles, the hydrogen. You know, if you lightly steam some vegetables, then, you know, that's one thing, but really, basically, people are cooking it to death. And I get it, like, we survived maybe because of cooking food, because we could take things that, you know, were not edible necessarily and apply heat to them and feed the gut microbes. But then I believe that those microbes are inferior to the true biotics, which grow on the food and are associated with the breakdown of raw living plant matter, which then is decomposed by the time it gets to the colon. It starts to decompose and then it's evacuated. But if you cook food, it's already decomposed. You've already, because your body is the oven, you know, and so when you put it in the oven and you cook it, then it's like an accelerated decomposition. And nobody ever puts meat or cooked foods into the compost pile. Why? Because you kill the microbes. You can't grow food with it. So if you had a garden of the gut and you wanted your life to be a garden blossoming with flowers and fruits and sweetness and butterflies and living life force, you would want to just adopt nature's principles to the best that you can without me being a judge of anyone, because there's nobody that's gone more off the rails in this lifetime so many times than I have, because of what I'm realizing about how everything, the brain and the drug addicted child brain that has, then the food is the last drug and the sex. But right now it's just the food.
And it's addictive. It's addictive to cook food. Like I feel so much better with, I don't eat cooked at all now. And if I do, it totally throws off my digestion. I feel more tired. Like I just don't feel like, I feel the most like my true self eating living foods diet. Do you ever eat cooked food now at all? Or no? Like, do you ever have it?
No.
No. When was the last time you had it? Or like, how long have you been raw for?
Oh, I went off the rails in 2021 when I was super depressed. Potatoes are a drug for me. So,
me too. I get it. Yeah.
Which I understand. Like I get it for people. It's like life is stressful. And there's times when you go through those things when your heart and your mind are being ripped apart. And like, you know, if you're a free spirit and you're like a bird in a cage and you're like, fuck it, give me some potatoes, man. You know what I mean?
And I think it's good for people to see, like, you can still have hard times, even when, like, even someone like you and I've had hard times like the last couple of years too. It's good for people to see that, because it's good you talk about that, because I think a lot of people only go on talking about like the perfect times and maybe don't get the proper like sense of how it really is, because life can still be hard. Even if you're eating like a perfect living foods diet, you still have hard times, you know what I mean? But I feel like the diet, like eating a living foods diet, when you are faced with hard times, it makes it like drastically easier to deal with those things than if you're not. Like, at least for me, it just kind of, you know.
Well, what happens, I think, is that the living foods doesn't allow you to accumulate problems and energies as much. You can really get constipated with family crap and money crap and job crap and health stuff. And so constipation isn't just in the gut, but it does tend to accumulate there. And then all of the energies of, okay, my job sucks, I'm just gonna have a cup of coffee and a donut because I hate my boss. And then boom, instead of facing the hate and going, you know what, I would rather live in a cardboard box and put up with this jerk. I'm not gonna have the coffee and the donut today, I'm gonna quit this job. You know, that's not my advice, but I'm just saying that, you know, it allows us to constipate ourselves, to numb ourselves. And we've all done it. Food is the ultimate drug of all time. And there are so many layers to this. I could do a 6-hour-long class on everything I've seen and experienced and been through with the food trip and how it interrelates to all the biomemories that are creating all these cravings, and these people, they make it for 2 years or whatever on a vegan diet or a live foods diet, and then they just snap because of the different, you know, stressors or the different, you know, the biofilms that are just sitting in there hibernating, waiting for for your strength to wane. And then it's like your life immunity, you know, not just like with the health and the flus and all that stuff that's going on these days, but just your resolve. You know, but it's awesome when you fail too, because you get to keep learning. You get to keep learning. And so, you know, I'm not going to get up here and say, here's all my failings, because I don't really want to hear like, oh my God, I thought you were perfect. No, please do not put that on me. I'm not. I have learned the hard way by basically failing my way through life, only to learn to understand the human experience so that I could, you know, like, I think it's going to use me as a teacher at some point. You know, it probably already has, but I mean,
yes, it already has, Dan.
It is, but there's no way to really express the truth. So it's fun because I have a lot of words and I'm good at talking. So I've made a career out of it. It's my job, and that's my next video is like, here's my confession. I just do this for money, you know.
I love you, Dan. Yeah.
What's not really true But, you know, but it's like, I was so, when they would, Durian Writer and his Hordak of mindless sugar eating minions would come over. All you care about is money. I should have said, yeah, you're right.
See, that's what's so likable about you, because you're just like being yourself. That's what I like, when people just are just themselves. That's the just most attractive quality, right?
Well, it takes too much energy to be something else. And that's been the problem that I've been experiencing, why I had to take so much time away from YouTube. I made videos every day, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 videos every single day, because I'm in the habit of it. But I couldn't post them because of all this pressure of what I'm supposed to be, but I'm none of those things. I'm none of the things that people think I am. I'm like the nicest guy in the world,
Yeah.
but I'm also the biggest dickhead in the world too. I'm
Yeah.
all of it. I'm a
So
sinner.
sometimes things trigger you. Like you can get triggered if something happens. Do you ever, like, if somebody triggers you, do you ever, like, I'm still working on not reacting to things. Like, how do you handle things? Say something bad happens and you feel triggered. Like, how do you keep like peaceful and calm in that situation and not react and do something that's like anything but kindness?
That's the work of life. That's to understand that, you know, and I usually I don't respond as quickly anymore. You know, the internet's the perfect example. You know, oh, F you, you only care about the money. And then I'm like, oh yeah.
Do you write back if people write a nasty comment? Like, I feel like you're so loved, but obviously there's just like haters everywhere. If people write a nasty comment, does it like get to you? Does it bother you? And do you write back to them?
Sometimes I respond. The people that I respond to are the intelligent ones that should be able to see beyond the perspective of, hey, it's Dan McDonald. You know, I just moved from that apartment over there to this one, and it cost me a lot of money, and I'm not gonna be able to pay my rent unless I get up here and do my obligation to Paradigm. And, you know, it's just a job. You know, but it's more than that. But, you know, in the beginning, that's what bothers me, is when people say, Dan, I liked you in the beginning outside the RV when you were dead ass broke, hiding in a nudist park behind a locked yellow fence in your RV that you could not afford to make the payments. That's how I like you. Poor, broke, and, you know, and like innocent. But then it was like, okay, and Krista said, hey, you know, about 3 or 4 months into making one video a week or something, she said, hey, make a video every day and give it to me. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I had like 7 views or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so cool. They liked me. That was the little boy who never got attention.
Mm-hmm.
So then, oh, they like me, you know. And then it was like 25 people, and then 37 views, and then it started going crazy, you know. And oh, they like me. The little boy whose mommy and daddy never paid him any attention and who was desperate for attention of any kind, got that. And then I got addicted. And I have been trying to break the social media addiction since, and I'm doing much better now because the way the phone is set up for the dopamine. So the dopamine is the pleasure, and the serotonin is the happiness. And I'm working on getting over to the serotonin. Like, I'm happy without you, trying to navigate my way through, you know, I love the truth, period. Okay, yes, I eat this controversial diet like every other living organism on planet Earth. I'm controversial. You know, the giraffe, how dare you eat all your food raw? The lion, how dare you eat all your food raw? The vulture, the rabbit, the rat, the monkey, and then the human beings, because you got to cook it, bro.
Yeah. And when you first went raw, like, how did it change your life when you first went to like a total living foods diet?
Well, now we can finish where we started. See, because people think that I go off on these tangents and forget. And some videos I do, and I'll watch it and be like, oh shit, I went off on a tangent and I never came back. Oops. But then that gives me fuel for the next video. But this one, they wanted to know about the day that I was wasted out of my mind, because I lived off $5 a day. And on a good day, I would eat 3 Jumbo Jacks for 99 cents and drink 2 22 ounces.
I don't even know what that is, that Jumbo Jack. What is that?
99-cent jumbo jack. And the
What's a
thing
jumbo
is,
jack?
I was always a Life Regenerator. A jumbo jack is a burger from Jack in the Box.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And
We
so
don't
the
have
thing,
that in Canada. I'm in Toronto. We don't have the Jack in the Box here. Okay.
oh man, that's too bad. But there was, they had the 99-cent jumbo jack. And what you could do is there was the biggest one, and you could go in there, and I had the Life Regenerator was already in me, because I'd go in there and I'd get extra lettuce, extra tomatoes, extra onions. So I could have this big ass thing, and 2 or 3 of those would fill me up for the whole day. So if I was having a good day, I'd eat 3 of those and drink 2 22-ounces. If I was having
Wow.
a bad day, I'd eat 2 of those and drink 3 22-ounces.
And you were homeless, right? Like you were actually
I
homeless?
was definitely,
Wow.
but I worked my way finally, because I had a van when I left to Seattle, and then I got all these tickets because I couldn't pay for parking, because the town I lived in, there was no pay for parking. Then you move to Seattle, so I had all these tickets. They towed my van, which was my home. And now I'm like, and I just didn't have the money to get it out, you know? And so then all my window cleaning stuff that I had was gone. And then I'm really living on the street. And it took me about a year and a half or 2 to get it together. I had to go on the street and like spare change and be like, hey man, I need to restart my window cleaning business. Can you spare some change? And they'd be like, you know,
And like, how did you feel being how did it feel to actually be homeless like that? Like, how did you feel?
free.
Yeah. See, I know. I think some people in hard times just think it would be easier to go when like, cause it's like, it can be a lot, right? The whole like society.
I had a job at Ernst Hardware. They were lame. I had a job at McDonald's that lasted 30 days. Smoked too much weed, and I was like, what in the hell am I doing here? Threw my hat at the manager, left the burgers on the grill, walked out, went back.
Yeah.
My little name tag said Dan McDonald's. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that's right. Your name.
One day I took too many knife hits and I was so paranoid, you know, I was like, oh my God, they're all watching me. They weren't. I had that, everyone's been a few times, you know. But anyways, I had these stupid jobs and I'd rather be like, look, I'd rather do this. You know, I did some weird stuff. I did some stuff, nothing too sinister, but it's not exactly like gonna, you know, put me on the expressway on the bus I'm not gonna get a first class ticket to heaven.
Yeah.
Those sins, you know. But you know, I survived, but I was free, because there was one time I was always a Life Regenerator, because we were sitting around with my friends, which means just all the other homeless hood rats.
Mm-hmm.
And we were drinking and smoking and carrying on, and they were like, oh, poor us, we're victims, we're homeless and all this crap. And I'm like, listen, you guys, look at this guy. He's got a $5,000 suit on, look at his face. That guy is a lawyer and he is miserable.
That's the thing. A lot of people out there have it all and they're miserable.
Have it all, but they don't have anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I just said to them, you guys, listen, we're out here because we want to be. Because I didn't have to be. I had a few opportunities. They weren't good ones, but I could have, you know. Finally, what I ended up doing is spare change, got a bucket, started washing windows again for $5, worked my way up, you know, slowly but surely, lost it all again. In fact, one day, here's a great story. I spare change, you know, and one guy actually gave me $20. It takes about $40 to start a window cleaning business.
Mm-hmm.
Rags in the alley, a bucket behind a, you know, a restaurant, a pickle bucket, and then you buy a brush and a squeegee, and you get some towels from the thrift store. Now I did this 3 or 4 times, believe me. And then one day I had to start over from scratch. I got it all, the equipment, went around, made like $40, washing windows all day, went up to Capitol Hill. And of course, when you're homeless, you know, and I had, one thing I found was this nice briefcase black bag where I put all the window cleaning stuff. I went up to Capitol Hill, fell asleep, and then I woke up and my window cleaning equipment was gone. So I had started over fresh, got kind of $40 was back on your feet again, you know, and then lost it all in one day, you know. And
wow.
So I mean, I just kind of laughed because I knew that the heroin junkie that ripped me off thought it was going to be a score, you know, and he went home and it's like a squeegee and a brush. And he's like, oh, fuck, you know. So I just thought, poor guy, I felt sorry for him, kind of. And I knew that I was going to be able to start over again, but it took me a while. I waited. I was like, okay, maybe you're trying to tell me something. I wandered the streets. One time I had a white sweatshirt, and my job was to keep that sweatshirt clean, because I'm the kind of guy where, you know, if I got a white sweatshirt on, like a guy in China eating a mustard hot dog on my shirt, you know? So that was one of my first spiritual experiences, was how can I be aware to keep this white sweatshirt clean? Finally, it actually was mustard, and it was my mustard that ended up right on the shirt. And then that lasted about 3 weeks. But I think that I was keep on trying to go back to the original story, because I was going back to the where it was. I was on Capitol Hill and I was wandering around homeless. I didn't have a van at that time, because eventually I worked my way up and bought this big beast of a van and lived outside the YMCA and cleaned the windows at the YMCA. So I kind of I had to do the grind. So when, you know, it still hurts me when people say that crap, like, hey man, you know, I picked out the best supplement company in the world. Why don't you leave me alone? I don't want to go back to cleaning windows or being homeless or living in my car. Then if you want to come into society and work in the matrix, but not, you know, if you want to be in the matrix, but not of the matrix, you can put on your little puppet suit and do your little clown show, you know, and then you probably somehow find a way to pay your bills, to keep the roof over its head and everything else. Or you can just disappear and just become a nobody, which is also very attractive, you know. And so, but you just surrender, and then it just does what it wants to do. And I see now more and more as I surrender that it wants me to say stuff and talk about like food, as the food is like only a smokescreen to get to people to say, you know, you can surrender. You don't have to cling, but you can cling if you want, but eventually it's going to hurt and you're going to get tired and it's going to be exhausting, because you're going to be just fighting yourself. And so it's easier said than done. You know, we have our good days and our bad, and it is easier said than done. I try to avoid being like Instagram posts, all love and light and rainbows. It's like, because it is the hard road, but it's the only one that leads to any kind of fulfillment at all in any way, shape, or form, because everything else is just sand through your hand and dust in the wind.
And what I really like about you is, like, you've been through a lot in your life, right? And I think it would be easy to play the victim and sort of go down a bad path and be super bitter. So I like how you're not, like, you didn't sort of adapt those characteristics and become like super bitter. So I'm wondering, like, how did you work on forgiving people in your life, like where maybe some traumas or things have happened where it would be super easy to spend the rest of your life really angry at people? Like, how can people like truly forgive others so that they can feel free within themselves?
That's a really cool question, and it is a blessing to me to see that. And one of my best friend Tava sees this, and he's the one that kind of pointed it out to me. But see, forgiving others has never been hard. That's always been easy. But forgiving myself, you know, I can forgive anyone. Oh, my girlfriend cheats on me 3 times or whatever. It's like, oh, whatever, you're human. I mean, you know, I would have done it too, you know, like,
Oh, damn.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, dude, that's how it is. Oh, you ate this or you smoked that. Was the weed good? You know,
You're right. It is so much easier to forgive other people than to have peace with yourself with things. You're right.
Yeah, and it's harder, especially when you're like, you know, an influencer or something. You're supposed to hold up to the standard. I'm like, everyone, please do me a favor and take all that off me. You know, I'm, you know, to myself, I say I'm nothing, you know, because then it just, you know, to be somebody, oh God, what a bunch of pressure, you know? But I mean, so there's part of me that wants to set a good example and live in integrity. What I've learned is that I do what I say on my videos. So that's why I need to keep making videos and keep raising the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And when people are like, you're a dick, your standards are too high, it's like, I'm not making this video for you. I'm making this video because if I say it to you, then I have to do it. And I have to keep raising my bar and living in integrity, because I learn from my own videos. Because when I say this, that, the other, all this, do that, be nice, don't be a dick, I'm like, oh God, I gotta be nice, I can't be a dick, you know? So I have to do what I say on my videos.
And
You
do you
know?
like making the videos? Like, I know you say you're like talking about doing it for the money, but I feel like when I watch them, I feel like you like making them and you know so much. Like, once you're actually making them, do you enjoy it or no?
Very much.
Okay, good.
It is an art. It truly is an art. And I love truth. There's the truth, which can't be spoken of. And then there's relative truths, like, yes, you can improve your financial situation. That's a relative truth. You can also be a victim and blame everyone for all kinds of stuff. So those are relative truths. Hey, you can lose the weight, you know? Now, the absolute truth, which can't be spoken of, is the guiding principle. I would say the guiding light, but it's the lightless light. Like, we come out of the darkness of our own ignorance, and we're looking at ourselves like, wow, you know, we're like, you need to change, not the other person. It's not their fault. You need to change your life. You can only do something about this. Then you can come out from behind the darkness and into the light. And then you're like, oh, wow, I'm a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And you can grow the light and clean up and clear out and keep growing in the light. And then it's nice. The light is nice. And when you're purified by the light, but then consciousness will even go beyond the light, beyond darkness and light, to the lightless light. And that's where the silence, the peace, and the stillness, which some people are like, I hate that. You know, I hate silence and stillness, I hate meditation, you know, but it's the thing is it's already in you. You know, it's just that maybe to get there would be quite an arduous task, you know. And I'm not telling everybody here to be you know, an aspirant, a spiritual aspirant, but I'm saying though that these principles can be a blessing. And to, even if you know this lifetime is not your lifetime, to you know, realize the fullness of the truth, which also has levels. You know, it starts at one, and then it's like it can go on, and then you go up to, then you're an avatar, and then you start working on your archangel status. You know, so it's never-ending thing. But at a certain point, the human nervous system can't handle that frequency, and it has to, you know, blows out. You know, it's like. Mm-hmm. There goes the body, and there goes Vivekananda at 39 years old, because it was just too much, right? But these principles are useful. And it is really that as you so treat others, this world will treat you, you know? Mm-hmm. And that is so subtle. And so you'll see that, like, then you can say to yourself, why am I attracting this? Where is this coming from? Well, just because it's your subconscious, you keep attracting guys that are abusive. It's your subconscious, yeah, and you're not aware of it, but still, you got to be like, man, this is like the seventh dude. I thought this other dude was going to be different. He was just a little bit more past my defenses, lasted a little longer, but now he's hitting me again. And you got to start to go, why is this happening? And then oh, my dad hit my mom, and it's what I saw, and it's so deeply embedded in the back of my head. And so we're trying to get the blood to come up here into the front and be like, observe. And then you're like, oh, wow, I am doing that. I am attracted to that. I am creating that. Just because it's, you know, my declaration or my, you know, vision board says one thing, that doesn't mean your subconscious mind isn't playing the map of reality over and over again. So This is
And how
hard
do you feel
work.
people work on retraining their subconscious mind?
I mean, the first step is real, true honesty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like be real with yourself in a fake ass world where everything is fake, everything is fraud, everything is false. Nobody is who they say they are.
Mm-hmm.
Go into your own dark room and sit there with yourself. Like get right with yourself, because that's the only way to have joy. That's the only way to have fulfillment, you know, is to be honest. And then you just learn. That's for me, like I realized the whole world ain't gonna start meditating. But when I started meditating, I meditated for 20 years, but off and on, 20 minutes here. Well, first I started out at 5 minutes, is all I could sit by the river at my parents' house. I actually moved home after I went raw to my parents' farm. It was pretty cool. But 5 minutes is all I could sit. And I worked my
And
way up.
sorry, when you meditate, like I know some people stare at a candle flame or they like try and listen to something. What do you recommend? Like what works for you to meditate?
Well, it's changing actually. For many years it's been right here, the third eye, and just focusing on the little blue light that's there, and it'll grow and shrink. But just staying concentrated on that while simultaneously looking inwards and asking the question, you know, what am I? You know, what am I really? Trying to find out and realize the source. Now it's starting to change, and it's starting to move down into the heart, because the mind is the thinkingness. It's also a receiver, but it's pure consciousness looking for pure consciousness. And I have this growing feeling that it's going to end up here. I really believe that the knowledge, the holy scroll, is your own heart. Mm-hmm. And if we could be still and we could realize and we could have it blossom, that, you know, that love, really.
And the heart is so much more powerful than the mind. I forget like how much they say, but it's like crazy, right? How much more power it has than our minds.
Yeah, and that's the thing about me, is that this is a real strong head, Aries, and a real thinker, contemplator, and that's where all of my issues have been, all my health issues that I work on, because, you know, nobody really knows this because I only alluded to it, but I'm more and more seeing, I was born with the drugs, and then I was already just kind of messed up, and then my childhood and my family line and everything. And then those drugs set you up to be susceptible to the well baby visits, right? Then they blap, and then those heavy metals go in and they sink into those areas where the blood-brain barrier is already weakened by the recreational, chemicals.
And do you ever miss the drugs? Like, do you ever have days where you crave like alcohol or drugs and ever like get tempted to go back?
Not really. I mean, who doesn't love weed? But it makes you kind of dumb, makes you overeat. So, I have done weed a few times, over the years, but it does make me dumb, and it does make me slow and eat wrong. And so what I've learned about the cannabis is that although it does assuage the issues temporarily and numbs my nerves, it also takes away the clarity. And the clarity is what Dan is working on. Clarity through diet, through meditation, through fasting, through solitude, through celibacy, like clear and bright. That's kind of the treasure that I love. And then when you do things like overeat or anything else that you do. There's the list goes on, that knocks away your clarity. Alcohol, coffee, sugar, cooked foods, blah, blah, blah. Like,
Yeah.
the diet evolution is stupid to where people are like, this is boring. You're going to kill me with boredom. But it's like the monos and the juice. And it's like, I don't need
Yeah.
any more,
Like
you
the
know?
clarity is where it's at. Like the last couple of days, I'm just eating fruits and green juices and like taking a break from fats for a couple of days. And I just feel like that mental clarity is just, it's better than anything. It's better than any drug or any cooked food or anything. And once you have a taste of that, you're like, whoa, like I've never felt this good. You don't even reach this on a drug. And it's like, it's just like your true self, right?
It is the more layers of the onion stripped away. And so that's what we're doing. And so I tried to not, I really do love this knowledge and information, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, I have my struggles and I pretty much do try to hide them because I don't need to hear it. I don't want anyone's advice. Dan, you need Jesus. I got Jesus. Dan, you need to eat some pig dicks or some cow brains. You're vitamin K12 deficient. None of that has anything to do with anything.
Yeah, as soon as a vegan has some problems, it's like, oh, they need meat, right? It's the meat. As soon as there's anything going on, it's like vegans are at this standard. You're supposed to be perfect in every area. And if you have any issues, it's like this person needs meat, right?
I wouldn't even want to be vegan because you could eat a bunch of shite. And I got a bunch of grief. Of course, a lot of people actually gave me a thumbs up. I normally don't comment on anything, but this guy was on there. I don't even know who he was, but I saw his thing and he's kind of a famous vegan with the muscles and stuff. And he's like, I don't care what you eat as long as it's vegan or whatever. And I was like, dude, that's terrible advice, bro, because you know, if you eat the vegan shite, you're gonna feel like shite. You're gonna get glyphosate. You're gonna get fake cheap oils that are gonna block up your gallbladder and your liver. Your skin's gonna be crappy. You're not gonna feel good. You're gonna get depressed. And you're gonna be like, I'm saving animals. Like, save animals, kill yourself. And
Yeah, that's why too. I think some vegans like they eat a lot. They're not eating like whole foods, plant-based, like the whole foods, and they're eating like the fake products. And then a lot of them will be like, it's not working. I'm going back. And then they say the vegan diet doesn't work. But then look how if they're eating like those burgers and all that, it's like it defeats the whole purpose of a true vegan like diet, in my opinion.
and at some point, it's not even about the diet so much as it is the indurated tissue with no oxygen, the calcareous deposits, the crystal acid deposits left over, the biofilms, the the biomemories trapped in the fascia, the subconscious belief patterns, the toxins in the brain, the thick caked mucus of massive amounts of memories and energy, which, you know, the world continues to put new wine into old wineskins and wonder why this whole thing is nothing but one big shit show. The whole diet thing. You'll never know until you clean yourself out completely and start over.
And that takes longer than people think. I think people too expect like an overnight fix or think like another thing I want to ask you too is a lot of people say on my channel, I've been raw for a certain amount of time and they are experiencing problems. So they're like, is this detox? How do they differentiate detox from like the diet not working, in your opinion?
Well, I'll tell you this. I've been working for 21 years and I haven't got it yet.
The detox is a long process when you've eaten a certain way and been through traumas and everything for decades, you know? Yeah.
Real, true regeneration is unbeknownst, unheard of, and the final frontier in healing is coming soon. I'm going to try to explain it. I've already started my own training with my elite video club and trying to share this stuff, but it is
and I'll link that down below too. It's like you have like a membership, it's a membership group you have, right?
Yeah, that's my family. Those are the people
Yeah.
that kept me going, not only financially, but also emotionally. I was like, I should be giving you guys 39 bucks a month when I was really down and out, but they were there and they appreciated me watching me go through the process. And I'm blossoming, beginning to blossom again because of, and just yesterday was the final text, and then the energy, you know, it's crazy because there's a woman, and I absolutely love her, but I was just not, to really love a guy like me, it's gonna be probably 1 in a trillion woman, because I just need to be who I am.
Yeah, relationships are hard.
Yeah.
And was she vegan? Like, would you only date a vegan or a raw vegan or no?
She was fucking breatharian, man. She was,
wow.
There's nobody, she is so far up there. You know, she had lived off grapefruits she's the one who had the most shortest successful water fast I've ever seen, 11 days.
Wow.
Grapefruits for 3 months. You know, normally people do not have a complete fast in 11 days. Most people are like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 21-day water fasts, plus all the enzymes and herbs and body work and counseling and yoga and everything else you got to do but it just depends. I mean, I'm a real tough case, you know, and so, you know, her tongue cleared after 11 days. And so, yeah, pure thing. I mean, that's why the mind was like, yes, but I had to learn what my destiny is, and whatever it's doing, I call it God, but it's just the truth, but it's the infinite field, the divine consciousness. I have to shut up and listen and let go, even though my mind is like, dude, there's going to be nobody else that's ever going to be like this.
Yeah, that can be really hard. It can be so hard going through that.
But the thing is it just, I was dying. Like I was dying. And that's why I was gone for a year. And this is the first time I've ever admitted it. The space you're holding is very good. And I'm glad, because these videos help me, you know, to just say, hey, here I am. Like, I don't want to be nobody's anything. Like, I am, the only reason I've even made it this far to like maybe a quarter of the way up the mountain is because I've screwed up so much. I've made so many mistakes. You know, I mean, I have snapped and freaked out, and I've had a lot of struggles behind the scenes, and like food addiction. And people think, you know, when I tell them, it's like, you're addicted to salad. It's like, hold on, you know, it's not necessarily the salad as much as it is the chewing, and then the salt and the spices. And those are Dan McDonald's little, with the dopamine brain, the little
even when you do a cleanse, like when I do a cleanse, it's easy to realize, even with the raw foods, sometimes not as much with the raw foods as the cooked foods, but with the raw foods too, you can kind of like run away from emotions and things with even the raw foods, not to the level of like cooked foods or drugs or alcohol. But when I go on a cleanse, like a juice cleanse or a mono fruit cleanse, like there's none of that. You just have to deal with things. Right. So I want to ask too, what's your favorite cleanse? Like you've done so many cleanses too. What's your favorite cleanse?
My favorite cleanse is the cleanse from Paradigm.
Yeah. And what is their cleanse? I don't know their cleanse.
It's just that it's one product.
Wow.
Like, and I say that to you because of what happened this morning. I'm not going to tell everyone too much about my bowel movements, but it was unbelievable. So yesterday I did a triple doser. And I've been really cleaning myself up as I get myself back on track from just like hopeless depression. You know, I've never gone off of whole foods or anything like that. I've never ate processed foods, even in the lowest depression, you know, but I had a lot of, I ate quinoa and potatoes because I had a lot of quinoa from the survival food that I went and bought. Most of the survival food that I bought was raw, a lot of honey, and I don't make no one's gonna give me shit about honey. I'll eat honey all day. I don't give a crap what anyone says. I really don't care what anyone says. I'm not gonna do what anyone says. I'm gonna do what it tells me to do.
Do you feel like you used to care what people said? Like, did you used to? Yeah. I like this. I love where you're at. I think it's great. I think it's amazing.
I still care. I still am a very sensitive. There's a little boy, well, there's a baby, and in every man or in every woman, there's a little baby, there's a little boy, there's a teenager, There's a grown man and there's a sage, you know? Now I say, let the sage win, because the sage knows how to nurture, love, and include and accept all of them. But you have to work with all those different archetypes as your system developed in a biological world, you know? And I'm grateful for everything that I've been through. Like, I have an opportunity now to stop the progression of this, what I did a fast over in that little apartment over there. That was my first little yogi cave. And I came over here for the kitchen to film.
I like how you can see where you used to live. Same with where I live. I can see my old place right straight ahead.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that apartment, but I also love this one too. But hell, what was I even saying? There's a DTM tangent. I'm saying something about
Cleanses, I think we were talking about. Now I forget too.
Well, anyway, so
Yeah.
The cleanse is just an herbal product. And this
Yeah.
morning, I was telling you about how I'm
No, yeah, it wasn't that. Yeah.
stuff together here and getting cleaner and cleaner, like every day. Like, I'm gonna get this, you know, because like I will admit it. I hate to admit it. I hate to be vulnerable, but it's like I won't say food addictions, but I'll say, and issues isn't even the right word either, because actually I was hanging out with Dara. You know who Dara is?
No.
Okay. Anyways, I was hanging out with Dara. She lives in Sedona, and I was telling her about my salad addiction, meaning, you know, salt and hot peppers and garlic and onions, you know, which is not the path of the yogi, but yet that's how I kind of deal with stress, because when you have those stimulating foods, it activates the dopamine, and it also, the hot peppers and the garlic produce a nervous system stimulant, and you get endorphins. So the eating of the spicy salad, you get like this endorphin rush, dopamine rush.
Mm-hmm.
You feel good for a few hours after that. But then the next day you wake up and it's like the oils and the garlic and the onions are irritating.
And you feel more angry, don't you? I used to never eat onions and garlic ever. Like, I excluded them for those reasons. And then the last year I've been in like the habit, because they're so good, right? All these recipes. But I do notice like they make me more angry, onions and garlic. Yeah. And I know that like it was my goal in 2022. It was a resolution to cut onions and garlic for the whole year. And I made it like 3 days. And then I was like, oh, it's so good. But I think I want to cut it again, because it does affect your nervous system and it makes you angry. At least for me, it's much more angry than normal.
Very much. It's amazing you said that. You're reconfirming what I experienced the other day. Then what I did is I just took it all out of the cupboards, out of the closet, because I'm going to be starting an academy, right? And making the food. But I think I'm going to have to talk to my elite video club and be like, guys, I think we're going to have to go another direction.
Yeah, I think do it. So what, you're going to remove onion, garlic, and then what? Spicy foods, right?
I'm wondering if I'm even going to do the raw food academy, because in the sense of, well, here's these crackers and here's these tostadas and here's this corn with flax seeds and garlic, and here's these big piles of nightshades and everything else, which, you know, there's all these different levels. But then there's the level, and that's what I'm getting to now, where it's like the yogi level, where you're just eating so you can meditate and be aware and be clean and be supple. And I also go and I do, you know, asanas every day, you know, when I'm not consulting. But I try to get to yoga every day, unless sometimes I have so many consults right now. But, you know, and the asanas is just to strengthen the body, to keep it flexible and limber, to keep the nadis open for the meditation. And then I meditate as much as I can, just learning how to meditate. You know, I never miss the 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. meditation. That's the highlight of my day, where I can check in with what I ate yesterday, how I lived, what I was thinking, how my thoughts were. And then, yeah, you wake up and you're like, why am I so aggravated? Why is my head burning? Because you just ate the whole, you know, hot pepper last night on your salad.
I noticed too, I have more like bad dream, more nightmares too, if I'm eating onions and garlic. And I think I grind my teeth in my sleep. And cacao is another thing I can't eat. Like, do you eat cacao? Like, I don't eat it anymore. Yeah, it's total drug to me. I'll be so depressed. I'll be like this huge high and then so depressed for like 3 or 4 days after, like so depressed.
we're like taking away everyone's stimulants and stuff, but if
Mm-hmm.
you really wanted, if you get cleaned up and you clear out the pipes and you balance the nervous system, you know, and you're not wiping out your adrenals with coffee every day, which all these health advocates are like, bacon is a superfood, but
Yeah.
and you're like, well, you know, if you took out the bacon, you would have more energy, because, you know, it's like clogging you up, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and then everyone needs the coffee, or this, we're plugged up. And I'm, you know, like I said, I'm no saint. And I know why people are clogged up, because the final frontier of healing is removing all those calcium deposits and irritating, you know, acid crystals left over from the onslaught of these synthetic chemicals that we've all been exposed to
Mm-hmm.
at one degree or another.
Have you ever done plant medicine, or do you do plant medicine? I never have, but I know a lot of people like rave about it, but I don't know.
I've done a lot of plant medicine,
Mm-hmm.
and every single time that I've done plant medicine for the last 3 or 4 years, it always tells me, you don't need me anymore. Go and do this on your own pure consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's so every plant medicine that I've done for the last few years has told me that at the end of the journey, you do not need me anymore. Go and use your own pure consciousness. No more crutches,
Mm-hmm.
no more help, and make it real.
Mm-hmm.
Unravel yourself with pure awareness, honesty, truth, fortitude, persistence, patience, dedication, devotion, discipline, surrender, etc., etc. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's just, I don't want to, because Dan McDonald, does not like to rely on anyone or anything. That could be a downside, because right now I feel like I could use a friend, you know, someone to talk to,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even like some snuggles from my system. But, you know, you get sucked in, and it's hard to find someone to understand that you're just doing this because you're like a human being who doesn't have a tribe. I had a tribe in Kauai, but the whole COVID thing, it all screwed that up, because I was making food for everybody. I was feeding like 100 people every weekend. I was
Yeah.
making music every weekend, and I would go and touch and hug and love, and it was awesome, and everybody loved me and they loved the food, and I loved doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't need the praise, that's fine. You know, people would donate and I'd get my money back, but sometimes not. I would spend my own money.
Mm-hmm.
I spent thousands of dollars, really. That was when I was doing a lot better financially, but I spent my own money. I loved making food, and I would do half cooked vegan, half raw. I'd bring fruits, and I'm sure you saw some of it. And I would feed everyone, and then but
Mm-hmm.
my
I did.
favorite thing, that was just a side thing. My favorite thing was playing music. All my drums are back in Kauai. My friend Adam has them in his house. He actually built me a room, so I have an apartment in Kauai. Thank you, Adam. I really do appreciate you, bro. And so my drums are there, and I don't have a drum here. I need to get one. But that was my thing, was I could express myself, not like the YouTube videos where it's words. The music, my drumming, that's how you know, Dan, that guy he has got something in him, you know, and he's letting it, that's the frequency of those drums, of all the practice from the years of the Rastas that didn't want to take a white dude in. But I had huge sacks of weed, and I had a van, and I kept showing up every weekend. Can I play? Can I play? Can I play?
Mm-hmm.
Finally, they were like, okay, you can play. So then I went out and bought a drum. And that's the one thing I've had for about, God, 26 years. I have had my quinto. And
Mm-hmm.
that's one thing I've been carrying around with me. And that's the only possession that I have that I've kept on to for 26 years, is this little 11-inch quinto.
Wow.
So that was I had a life. And then now that I came here to work on the final frontier of healing, I just don't have anything. So I see the benefits of it, but I also see that it could be good to It's good to have a tribe too for or purpose, because that's the serotonin. When I would make the music and play the drums and be of service to my community, like here's this delicious food, ecstatic dance. They sit around in a circle, everybody's cool, help each other out. And then I'd be like playing drums for 5 minutes and then go over and chop some food and prepare all. It was just like, I am a Energizer bunny, and I can do like 3 or 4 times as much as the normal person. That's kind of like when I ride my bike across continents. That's more my speed, like 100 miles on a bicycle. And this world is in slow motion, and it's hard for me to kind of fit into it. And so when the DTM gets going, I just have a lot of energy, and I like to be able to, do a lot of things.
Well, I'm wondering, so for diet, like what are you currently eating in a day?
What I eat in a day. Yesterday I had oranges and avocados.
Nice.
I had orange juice for breakfast, orange juice for lunch, and I had oranges for dinner, and I had avocados for dessert.
Well, that's good.
And I took the triple dose of the cleanse powder, which we started talking about. And this morning, it was just unbelievable because I've been hydrating, cleaning up, no more spices, just simple, whole, high water, mostly juice is what I drink. And then this morning before we started, I had watermelon juice with the cleanse, because I was like, I'm going to see if I can redo that again, because as you're getting cleaned up and then you take that cleanse, I mean, it was unreal. It came out of me this morning.
Wow.
After all these years, you wouldn't see these rubbery, it was amazing. It's hard to describe. It was just like, oh my God,
That's amazing. And then you feel so good. Do you ever do colonics or enemas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a colonic machine in my house.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's amazing.
That's the other thing. I build them.
Wow.
It's very simple. And
colonics are so life-changing. I started doing them about 1.5 years ago. They're like one of the most life-changing things I've ever discovered. They're incredible for like cleansing and, getting rid of all the toxins from the past.
I've seen them do miracles. I had a friend that had a headache for 2 years, and she never, I won't do that. I'll say, you got to do it. 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 She said, no. Finally, it got so bad. She went in and did it. Came out 20 minutes later, like, wow, I should have done this years ago, because it was her headache. I know that's what it is. There's so much pain and pressure and memories and stiffness associated with the gastrointestinal tract and the nerves that are connected to this fermenting, putrefying, biofilm mess of the fungus and the bacteria and the viruses, the parasites, and it's entity energy. And so we got to get, just go burn up with the light, do everything, think the light, love the light, breathe the light, drink the light, eat the light, pop the enzyme light, anything, minerals, light, frequency, hydrogen, hydration, getting the light into the cells. I mean, light. Then you can go, once you have established yourself in the way of light, then you can begin to surrender even the light and become the lightless light at the center of it all, at peace, true, lasting, peace. I just feel like it's my responsibility to listen to the knowledge and do my very best in this lifetime to live up to that. And I just love cultivating the spiritual path, but I don't do it for anyone. I'm not a spiritual teacher. I don't want to, I do it for everyone, but I do it in secret. Yes, I talk about it here because it's kind of cool. If I talk, I get paid. That's what I just learned on this last video thing. If I just get up there and do my little clown show, then I get paid. And
you help so many people and people love it.
And then there was just like, because of the little baby and the little boy that were really beat up, and it says, and there's a little thing there, I'm really working on it, And I'm really working on that because I don't want to respond and I don't want to get angry. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to say, oh, please try to understand. Please try to understand why I chose to work for Paradigm, because it's the best job, the best opportunity that God gave me. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't even want to do it, but God says you have to do it. God meaning that's what's there. That's what's happening. That's what's in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, do you want to pay rent? Here's this thing that Lou Corona gave you, and it's going to help a lot of people. Now, the masters out there that are already super evolved, of course, I've been doing it for 21 years and then just had that experience with the cleanse this morning because I did a triple dose. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't end, but people get mad about the powders and stuff, which is the cure for all of these nanoparticles. Cells oxygen is that's how you get rid of the graphene.
That stuff is amazing. You're talking
Yeah.
about the super cells right now, or no?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
am.
I just got some of that from AJ, who's in your group, and that stuff is amazing. I absolutely love it. Like I use the spray on like my skin sometimes, and then some of the drops in like my green juices and stuff. It's really incredible.
You know, I of all people understand our desire to have the Garden of Eden consciousness. But if you're aware, especially here, all you got to do is look in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's raining down on you. You're breathing it in with every breath. And then there's the people that just go line up and blap it in or pop all the
Mm-hmm.
pills, or it's all over the food. It's in the food. It's fake oils, low quality pesticides everywhere, heavy metals and all the supplements. That's why I choose Paradigm, because if it doesn't pass the Paradigm scrutiny, which many batches of raw product do not, I don't want heavy metals. I know there's a lot of, that's why I use Health Ranger products. That's why I use Morocco method. That's why I use supercells, and that's why I use Paradigm.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I try not to veer too far out, because otherwise you don't know about this little grass powder. It might be loaded with pesticides or heavy metals, or this
Yeah.
chlorella, or this spirulina. You might be
Even
eating
heavy metals with dental, I know it can be really bad. What do you think about that? Or when people have root canals? I had a root canal done like before I became more health conscious years and years and years ago, and I want to get it taken out because I feel like those are bad. Do you have any opinions on those?
I think it'd be best if we didn't do those things, but then again, dentists get paid,
Oh, yeah.
drill teeth and take them out, and they don't give us any answers. And then later on, because I have one too, thankfully I have all my teeth except that one. And, in hindsight, but it just was what it was. If we knew then what we know now, we would have brushed our teeth with probiotics years ago. You know what I'm saying? And, just my family line and stuff, it's like the families, it's like, that's hard for me to accept. My teeth aren't the best. I mean, they're solid. There's no cavities. I have all my teeth, so thank God, but I mean, they're not straight, and I don't have a lot of enamel, so they're more yellow. And I'm just getting it all out there today, folks, because I just want to get it off my chest. Like, look, say whatever you want. And, the people, they have all the perfect teeth and stuff. And I think that's awesome. And I'm still thinking of ways of,
Your teeth are great. You know what? I had the worst teeth as a kid because I had a lot of fluoride, I guess, as a kid.
Oh,
So
yeah.
my teeth have had like so much fluorosis, and I used to get bullied for it as a kid. So I had dental work done like when I was an adult, but my teeth were really bad from the fluorosis, and it can cause so much pain for people, all the dental problems you can have from things.
Yeah, and that's why it's good to start with the mothers and the fathers of the land, to start with their whole food nutrition
Mm-hmm.
and the right lifestyle, and breaking the drinking and the drugging and the smoking and the alcohol and the low quality food, so that the children can have strong, healthy teeth, and
And
brains and nervous
yeah,
and glands and full development. If the women could get on board, but they look at me like I'm a four-headed alien. But you
no,
can
but it's true.
avatar children if you want, if you're conscious.
And do you ever want children? Because you don't have any children, right? Do you want
Oh,
children or no?
I have two daughters.
Oh, you do? Oh, I didn't know that. How did I not
I
know
have
that?
daughters and a grandson now. They're
Oh,
old.
wow.
So
Wow, I didn't know that. That's amazing. Maybe I did know that. I don't know why I
show
forgot.
here and there a few times.
Yeah, actually, I did know that. Wow. So you're a grandfather.
Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
little
See,
grandson.
that's how the living foods work, right? Because I was like, do you want kids? You're already a grandfather. So,
Well, I have to be very careful because, I mean, it was, yeah, my ex-wife's super cougar, and I was really young and dumb and breeding stallion style. So, but I have two really awesome daughters, and we've had our ups and downs, mostly just recently had some down times, mostly with my oldest daughter, but we've rectified that. You know, she's just 23 and going through it. It's kind of the blame dad for everything phase, you know.
mhm.
But you know, I got a chance to talk with her at length the other day, and we worked a lot of it out. I mean, dude, that's the thing. I mean, it's like, so what I have this theme in my life of, like, you know, the women kind of being mad at me for who I am, you know. I tried my best, but nobody really knows what you struggled with deep down inside. You're trying to do it the best you can, but
Mhm.
you can't, you know, the fighting, you can't stand the fighting with the wife, you know, and you got your own problems with homelessness and stuff when they were first young. And, you know, so it was, I wish I could have done a better job, but also at the same time, I have had to forgive myself. And you can't walk around with guilt and shame for the rest of your life.
No.
You got to ask everybody to, you know, you got to realize at some point that everybody is doing the best they can. Even
Mhm.
Joe Blow sitting on the couch, smoking blunts, playing video games. That's just his way of dealing with his life the best way he knows how right now. So don't give him a hard time, you know, and if you can do anything and inspire people, but
Mhm.
forget, everyone's at a different level. Everyone has different opinions. There's duality, you know, and there's just the absolute truth can't even be spoken of. So you really want to be a silent witness, observer, praying for the world through your presence.
Mhm.
You be solid, you know,
Mhm.
you be peaceful, you be calm and centered. And when the whole world is going haywire into hell in a handbasket, you're like, you've already accepted death.
Mhm.
Now what? So is there to be afraid of? Nothing. Every day's
Mhm.
a bonus now. Because death is
Exactly.
coming for all of us. We're all going to lose our story, our life, our house, our fame, our looks, our teeth, our wrinkles and grays.
Mhm.
Either we're going to get fat or we're going to get skinny, but either way, you know, enjoy this moment because it's going to be all gone in not too long of a time. And so, yeah, enjoy the hell out of it, but at the same
Mhm.
time, accept the inevitable that is coming, you
Do you
know?
ever listen to or watch or read about near-death experiences? I love those. I watch those a lot, or no? Like where people have experiences where they like technically die for a period of time and then like go to the other side and they all have like a lot of similar things happen, like the life review and this and that.
Very similar, yeah.
Mhm.
And I actually I've read a lot about that. And I actually had my cousin went into a coma for 3 weeks after cocaine and alcohol, and then getting into a car wreck, and went into a coma for 3 weeks. And then when he came out, he, because he was the huge ego maniac, but he could get all these women, superstar quarterback, you know, cocaine guy, you know, good looking, strong as hell, just successful on every level ish,
Mhm.
except for reality on the outside world. But then he went into a coma for 3 weeks, and he actually came back, and he came over to me and he said, Dan, I need to talk to you, man. You're the only one I can talk to because I know you've been into all this stuff for years, you know. And he told me all about Jesus. And then he said,
Mhm.
I can keep going, or you can go back and do what you're meant to do. And then he came back and he actually went to Hollywood and became an actor. He's not that famous, but he went from all this weird stuff to just drove to Hollywood and became an actor, and told me all about his near-death experience. And I totally had already read so many books. Plus, anything is possible within the infinite field.
Mhm.
I've never had a near-death experience, I don't think I need it, but he needed it. A lot of egos need it, or they'll never crack, because they're, I am an ego, and I am
Yeah.
hard as steel encrusted rock, you know. But then a nice near-death experience in the light of Jesus, come on, or you can turn around and go back and do what you were meant to do. But either way, it's cool. It's cool, you know?
Yeah.
And then they're like, and then they joke about coming back. They're like, oh man, I came back.
Yeah, they're like, I didn't want to come back. It felt
Kept
so
going.
good there.
You know, but we'll all have that opportunity soon enough.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'd love to ask you some of my viewers' questions because, like I said, I posted in the community and they were really excited. So I have some questions for you. So Victoria asks, she says, you eat lots of liquid foods like juices, smoothies, yogurts compared to solid ones. Do you do this all the time or only in periods?
I kind of pretty much live off liquids.
Wow, interesting. You feel so good like that, right?
Yeah, it's just the way, it's just my own, the thing I've been dealing with. Liquids just feed and cleanse and hydrate, you know, because it was just heavy metal poisoning all my life, a massive saturation of chemicals and stuff. So it may not be the best for everybody, but it could benefit everyone, I think, to stay more hydrated and learn about just liquids. Then you get a little bit of glucose and some hydration and lubrication and then you can just get your work done. You can get your workout done. You can get all the stuff done without having to spend any energy on digestion. And then my habit is, my one good habit / bad habit is one meal at night. And, you know, some nights are winners, like last night, like a big pile of oranges and then a couple avocados. Oh, my dessert was avocados with celery, because I eat the fruit first and then I put the fat on and it's just delicious, you know, and it was avocado with celery for dessert. So I have the fat after I have the fruit, because you don't want to eat fruit, which takes fat, and then put the fruit on top of it. If you have an iron gut like I do, you can handle it. But I try to follow proper food combining, you know, and I just get my carbs before I get any kind of fats or anything. I think carbs are kind of what I need the most. I'm not going for big muscles or athletic pursuit per se, except I do focus my diet around the daily yoga sadhana practice, which is at a hot yoga place, and it's pretty vigorous, keeps me fit. And then I use food also for a fairly vigorous hiking habit and cycling as well. You know,
That's
and then
good.
I lift weights maybe once or twice a week just to do this process I call stretch and flex, just to stretch all the ligaments and bones and joints. And then I have a nice pull-up bar, and I'll just max out on pull-ups 2 or 3 times a week. And it's just so I never get to the point where I'm at fatigue or failure.
Yeah.
You get inflammation. That's a younger man's game for all the big muscles, and you get tight, and it's inflammation and stuff. But just every day having a nice fluid energy. So as you get older, you want to moderate and master instead of intense. And then you go and you do leg day and you do all these leg squats and and then you're just tired for like 3 or 4 days. That's okay for the young guys building muscle that are more into the physique, but then you get more mature and you just want to feel well. Be like nice and flexible and limber and strong, and keep your bones strong without wearing the system out, taxing it any more than you need to.
And I think I agree. I think a lot of raw vegans, if they get into cycling and working out and stuff, I feel like a lot of them end up going back to cooked foods because they say they need the calories. Like they needed more calories once they started like cycling or working out. I noticed that.
Well, live foods is hard because you have to be there. Eventually you have to wake up. You have to look at everything. You have to feel everything. And when you come up to the final frontier of all the ossification, that's where everyone has to turn back, eat the cooked snacks, go back to the meat. It pulls the vital force off of those nerves that are touching those irritating calcareous deposits, and you relax. You have to keep, you can just eat the cooked food, and then it keeps the system relaxed, but so we're all using food to modulate, and if you don't want to go on the final frontier, like I'm into it now because it's such a challenge, and I've had such issues with it, and I'm so sensitive now because going on the YouTube, like when I first went on YouTube, my raw diet was like crazy. I didn't know what I know now. It was a lot more piles of weird stuff, and I did all kinds of weird stuff because I didn't know anybody. We never even did finish the story. But I'll try to finish if you have time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Started off in the beginning. I'll tell the story, and I try to tell it again. So I see now it's the light in the living food, and that's why. So you got the Robert Morse devotees, and then you've got the other people, all these different. You've got the master fast system. You got the medical medium, and everyone's fighting and arguing. It's like, if I were you, I'd learn from all of them, because you've got they have a range. Each one has a range, and you want to get all the range of. If you get Robert Morse's program, and you learn that, and you get Lou Corona's program, and you adopt what you want out of that, and you take my buddy Tavis, who was the one who said you need more fat, and got me to realize that fat at certain times, particularly for the nerves, going after fasting and things like that, is extremely beneficial. These nice, wholesome, omega-3 living oils, fats, and so learn from all of them. Like I could name a list of 100 mentors, on the health side of things, Meyerowitz and all of them, way back, and Jensen, and people you never even heard of, Del Toro, that did all these weird fasting things from different countries, and you go into the archives and you read all these public domain books now that are like weird 1 day eating, 1 day off, and all these weirdos of spirituality, of millions of books that have been written. You find these weird ones. Hilton Hotima is a real. People still haven't even caught up to where he was talking about. He was a real himself person. And Arnold Ehret, and the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
Learn from all of them. What happens is people get so narrow, they think one guy has all the right ideas.
Yeah.
But they don't see the big picture, that there's so many other different issues going on, parasites and calcareous deposits and biofilms, and each person's going to have a little bit different. Lou Corona, his thing is really just, he wants to be a strong, raw person on living foods. So for 50 years, he's been on live foods, and he wants to be strong.
And how old is he now? He looks incredible.
He's 70.
Yeah, wow.
He looks about 40.
Yeah, he does.
And he does all this strong stuff, and then these guys are in the audience every time. They're like, "You need me to be strong, bro." And then he's like, "Well, come on up here and let's see if you can do it." And none of them ever can do it.
Wow.
They can never do what he does. 50 years, no meat, live food, and so it blows it all out of the water. But there's not that many people like Lou that learn something and stick with it and stay with it, and then they can be the evidence of it. And then 70 years or 50 years later, it's doing 20 Superman push-ups.
Yeah.
Not my thing, I'm not really, only because he trained like crazy when he was a kid with the Green Berets, and he had, and I just don't have that. I'm not a strong man. I'm a strong spirit, I'm fit, but I'm not doing Superman push-ups like Lou Corona. And I don't think I really want to emphasize that aspect of my life at least this time, maybe later. I do have visions of possibly training in the future, but right now I'm just unraveling the illusion, unraveling the knots in my system so that I don't respond to what anyone says. Like, I know why I do Paradigm. And yes, in a perfect world, in my perfect world, I wouldn't have to sell anything. I could give it all away for free, and some rich person would write me a check, here's $10 million, just do videos for free and don't manage the marketing of any kind. And I'd be like, oh, awesome. So now I have a roof over my head and a car and gas and food. So now I can just give it all away for free, but I don't even know if I would do that, because the final frontier of healing, it's like, you know, who really wants to learn it? And are you just tossing it away? You know, when it comes to, because these things, no one goes far enough. They turn back, you know, and I don't really, I guess I have that option. We always have the option, but I'm just not the type. I'm going to go all the way. Whether or not I accomplish the goal that I have set, it's just the sensitivity and awareness of these things as I move on and move forward, and want to see how much I can regenerate this body for fun. But because of this thing that I've always had, you know, for 47 years, I'm just still working on the brain. So that's why I'm still doing the detox. I don't just detox all the time. You know, I actually do periods of building and stuff too. And I'm not going to give up. And that's why I take long breaks away from social media. And then I come back and it looks like all this dude cares about his money. He must have ran out of money. And it's like, well, yeah. So let me just do that to everyone. I ran out of money. I do the videos for money, but I also do it as an art. I would like to get it back to an art. And then, but I just have to quit giving a flying crap that anyone doesn't understand me, because I don't even understand me and I don't need to, you know? It's only one side. It's a clown show. We're all an illusion. Everything is an illusion. Everyone is an illusion, because there's only the one self. But you have this thing and you think that you're real, and your story and your thoughts and your perceptions, which you project onto others. But only if you knew yourself would you know myself. And then you're like, oh, the infinite consciousness has that self, you know, selling Paradigm so he can help people and have a roof over his head. It's just all happening spontaneously. And so I'm grateful. There are some people that just go sit on a rock and don't do anything. There's some people that have, you know, trust funds. Other people have brilliant marketing to where they sell stuff without selling stuff. I'm an old school used car lot dealer, you know. I mean, I started working for myself when I was 8 years old. I'm like, hey, you know, I'll empty your trash for a quarter. That's where I started. And then I washed dishes, and then I mowed lawns, and then I babysat kids. Because my dad looked right at me, and it's the best thing he ever said. I said, Dad, can I have some money for candy? And he just looks right at me. He goes, get a job. That was when I was 8 years old. That's my dad. And you know what? I'm really glad he said that, because I didn't know what a job was, but I figured it out. And I went and got one. And I got some serious ass candy money.
That's awesome.
I was killing it with the garbage emptying and all the babysitting. And then I learned how to be an entrepreneur and work for myself. And now I've got, you know, when people, I'm a good businessman when it comes to consults. And, you know, if it's there, it's there. But with the rest of it, it's like, there's these master marketers on the internet. I am not one of those. I put my energy.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
This.
Yeah.
The real, not the thing. Maybe someday I'll be like a marketer, but for now, I just push the red button, record, slap it up, collect the Google AdSense, get the affiliate links, and then I do the work.
That's great.
The work that does itself.
Well, I want to ask you another few questions, if you don't mind, if you have some time from the viewers. So Palm Beach Don wants to know, Dan, do you know ways to keep up calories and carbs when we have a 9 to 5?
I mean, that's the one thing, is just eat. It's Energy does not come from, it does and it doesn't. Your brain and your cells need some glucose, not that much. But what we've got is we are wasting our energy. So it's about efficiency of the mind. It's learned. That's why the inner engineering is so good, or the inward path of less is more. Be a master,
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I mean, we all go through different days, and the more obstructions that you have in the gut and the tissues, the more food you're going to need to pump up and stimulate. But, and how the adrenals are with the coffee, but getting enough calories is, energy comes from the relinquishment of the obstructions, and also just not bogging yourself down. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing, the best food is your own body.
Mm-hmm.
Off all of the residuals. And I've done water fasting, believe me, a lot of water fasting. And the best, cleanest food is your own body. But it depends on what the body's made of and how much toxins are in there, depending on how much stuff goes into your bloodstream. When you do that, when you start living off your own, so the intermittent fasting, and fasting is all the rage these days.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole other process, but energy comes from sleep, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Go to bed early, turn off your phone. Don't waste any time on the haters.
Mm-hmm.
No, don't waste any mental energy. Be efficient. Focus on what needs to be focused on. Minimize, your output, and don't waste energy on people or worries or fears or, what these governments are doing or any of that. Just be efficient. Manage your energy.
Mm-hmm.
Sleep is the key, though.
Sleep is so key. I have a 3-year-old and she just likes to wake up in the night and has for like 3 years. And I don't sleep properly. And this weekend is the first time I've slept in months. And I feel just so much more like myself and like calm. And like, I think people don't realize, like, when you sleep, it sort of clears the stimulation in your brain that you've had from like the day before. And if you don't sleep, you are very much prone to feel a lot more stressed and depressed than you would if you had to sleep. So you're right. Like, sleep is so important.
That's the battery builder. And then that's why I like the juices, man. If you ain't got energy, you drink the juice, you got the calories, but you
Mm-hmm.
ain't got the digestion. So the vital force, so you're feeding your brain with glucose.
Mm-hmm.
Brain is running, carrot juice, apples, whatever, lemon ginger blast, watermelon juice, orange juice, whatever.
And you need less sleep if you're like, I feel like if I eat less fats and I'm like more juicing or just fruits and stuff, I need less sleep too than otherwise.
Yeah, so the cleaner you are, and then when you start fasting for long periods of time, you just sleep like 1 hour a night. When you're
Yeah,
on
like
like
you can't even fall asleep.
you don't even need to sleep. But that's the reason why we eat, is why we sleep, is because of how much we eat and how much needs to be processed on that level and how much needs to be processed on the mental level. And through the night, it goes through those different levels of cleansing and clearing and healing. And that's why it's good to eat like a couple hours before bed,
Mm-hmm.
something nice and clean and simple and light,
Mm-hmm.
but yet that, relaxes you. It's my system that
Mm-hmm.
I kick ass all day on juice and get anything done I want without being bogged down. And then I have my nice meal where I get the fiber, and I bring in my little protein and my little, fats at night. And then I make sure that I'm not like going to bed on a full stomach. So I eat around like 4 or 5. And then I go to bed super early at like 7 or 8,
Mm-hmm.
the latest by the 9. And I don't look at my phone. I do listen to my phone. I listen to spiritual teachings every night. Ramana Maharshi, the Buddha, whatever, to keep reminding me of the inward journey, And I program myself. That's the secret of all life. Reverse brainwashing. Might as well do something while we're here. What do you want me to do, man? Oh, and then you're feeding the homeless, or you're making videos, or it's just creative energy is just moving through you, and then creation comes through you, and then there's this, then the universe repays you for your creativity. But removing the obstructions to the creativity can take a lot of work, to getting to that place of where you're in the self, and it is just being creativity. It's being life itself, without as much of the story as you can relinquish as possible. And then you're just like, oh, let's play with this persona, and then you can pretend to be one thing at one time, pretend to be another, all out of good intention. And then you see that you've got all these different aspects of you, and you can be anything you want. And then you can learn how to go hang out with the bums and drink, and then you go in here and you put on a nice $5,000 suit, hang out with the billionaires, kick it with a lady, you're on a totally different deal. Then you're with your yoga friends, and you're on a different, and you're just flowing through, and you're just kind of being what everyone needs, but you also want to be yourself, which is what I'm really working on. Just like on the videos, just being like, look, man, I am too lazy to be what you want me to be. If you don't like me, get out of here, or whatever. Just don't complain. Or if you do complain, just know that I'm going to ignore you. It's just doing what it does. It's hard to explain, but that's the hardest thing that I have had to accept, is that this is just being this thing that it is. It's this compressed, it's the whole goddamn universe compressed into this little meat sack, What the hell is this little meat sack gonna do, And I make the best decisions that I can with it. And, ideally, yes, we'd all be living in the Garden of Eden, and we'd all be bartering, and God knows whatever else, but it's just, the system is the way it is. And so that's something I've really had to work on, because my ideal is to not sell anything, and maybe someday I can get to that.
Yeah, me too. That's mine too. I know.
But for now, we picked the highest quality, highest vibrational thing that can be very helpful for people, because the paradigm, to be honest with you, the paradigm gives me a foundation. It gives me a trajectory. It's like, okay, I take the cleanse with the juice, and then it's like, boom, keeps my colon. And I like to have a clean colon. If you're already a master and you don't make any mistakes and you're not dealing with anything, then of course, just ignore me. You're already past me. You shouldn't even be watching my videos, because I'm on a lower level than you are,
Yeah.
But if you're the 99.5% of the people I talk to every day that are addicted to coffee and trying to get off the fried chicken and get off the sugar, and they're on drugs, and they're 50, 100 pounds overweight, it's like, these are the people I'm talking to, not you illuminated sages who are already perfect, because I know who I deal with, and these people need what I've got. And then all the vegans, they're all like skinny, scraggly, and they're like, y'all need the paradigm protein, because the amino acids are very good. I'm not going to take my shirt off right now, but I have a nice fit body because I take some protein, and I have good fat reserves. So I'm not too skinny, and I'm not too fat. I mean, but I'm already a skinny dude. So I'm at peace with that. The bodybuilders are always talking about, you need me to build muscle. And I'm like, why? No. I'm perfect. You should smell the way I smell. Of course, if you punk, I'm going to knock you out. You know what I'm saying? But like, I want to smell good. I want to be clean. it's just, I'm working on a different thing. So everyone's got different priorities. And eventually, all of you young men, your priority, once you get out of your 30s, and for 30s, really, 20s and 30s, you're going to be like, okay, there's more to life than muscle. And muscle doesn't get me the girls, period. In fact, many times it pushes them away.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's indicative of many, many things. It's nice to be fit. It's nice to be strong. It's nice to be flexible. But, where are you going to find that nice balance in the middle of just having a good functioning body that works every day for you in your favor.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of all the ups and downs, and you're just trying to really dial it in so you feel well, you know? And when you're in your 20s, 30s, it's about the muscles and stuff. And so, yeah, if want to be a vegan and you want to have muscle, then you want to eat more aminos and you want to lift heavy, you know, and you want to get even more sleep than the other guy. And so the energy comes from, like, that's why I like the juice. And that's why if I had a job and it was 8 hours a day and I needed money, sure as hell, I do have a cooler. It's over there. I have a little tiny cooler. But if I had a job, I have a big cooler and a small one. I don't have a medium-sized one, but I'd have a medium-sized cooler. And I would make my juice the night before or the morning before, and I'd have ice blocks that are recyclable, made out of those gallon jugs or plastic bottles. Then you have the freezer full of them. Throw a couple in there, take your juices, a couple of juices in glass, a smoothie, some fruit, and you just put that in the ice. And then whatever, your little crackers, that's what you're into. Just, you know, whatever your trip is, man. I don't try to tell anyone, go raw vegan, or, you know, I'm not against eat, you know, have fun, enjoy life. And I know the ethical vegans hate me, but it's like, I just let everybody do whatever they want because I don't know that many ethical vegans. Only on
exactly.
in real life. Everyone's like, well, I had a piece of cheese. I'm sorry, DTM. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? What kind of cheese? My clients, dude, hardly any of them are raw. And
well, most people in the world aren't raw. Most people are not raw. I mean, a lot of
either. And so it's like a more of a mental trip than it is an actual in reality. Yes, I do my little thing, but that I'm also just a very thin little yogi meditator guy who has created his life, you know, to be so where I can eat the live foods, and it's very much of a blessing for me. So there's living foods and raw foods, and then there's juicing and fasting and dry fasting and detox, and then there's also there's stimulating raw foods, and then there's the raw living foods for the yogi. Where you just you get enough to stay balanced, but you eat the foods that are nourishing. And that's why, like, the fruit, the vegetables, the yogurts are particularly beneficial because almonds are sattvic, coconuts are sattvic. Then you have all the aminos and all the fats that are pre-digested. So you're having these yogurts where you're absorbing the minerals and vitamins from nuts and seeds, but it's digesting as easily as fruit because it's pre-digested with the probiotics. Now, if you don't understand the genius of that, I will admit it. It took me about 9 years after knowing Lou Corona, where it finally soaked into my stupid head, my hard head, excuse me, I won't say that, but just, I didn't get it. I didn't understand the yogurts until finally it was a conversation with Lou that I was having, and I got it, and then I went full swing on the yogurts. And now I fully understand the balancing, strengthening, pre-digested. It's a little bit of work. Yes.
It is worth the work. I make those yogurts too. I make the coconut yogurt. I think I learned it from watching your channel, and then also the coconut almond yogurt. And I use the Puridyne products in it, like I forget the probiotics and maybe the amino acids, or I forget which other one, and they're so delicious and they make you feel so good. They are worth the time it takes to prepare those.
It's stabilizing. So I have come to have reverence for all the macronutrients. I'm more interested in micronutrients, which is really hydrogen, oxygen, and an array of minerals for conductivity, because I'm more interested in electricity, anything else, than I am in like macro content. But you'll find out that through your journey to have reverence for the carbohydrates or the hydrating carbons, and then you've got the amino acids, all 22, and then, yeah, it's like, yes, it's a powder, but it's a raw powder. I don't want to dehydrate a bunch of peas and dehydrate a bunch of hemp and then micronize it myself in the Vitamix. I could do that. And I love peas. Whenever I have a garden, I grow peas and I do it for the protein. So Puridyne does it for me. Then it tests everything. and make sure there's no anything in there, no mold, no heavy metals, no bacteria. Every single batch that comes in, it comes into the most high class, pristine facility that is now finally ready for mass production. I'm going to be in on Paradigm. So people don't have to understand that Paradigm is going to go to $1 billion company, starting from scratch with nothing, just because Lou healed a dude or healed a lady, and the dude was like, hey Lou, what do you need? And I'm like, well, I want to start this company because all these other enzyme companies and probiotic companies water their crap down. Lou Corona has something that's called integrity. So Lou Corona is the president of the company and owns 51%. That way nobody can water the stuff down. So these are medicinal grade, pharmaceutical grade, pure, superpower, super concentrated enzymes, which they've been using for many, many decades to help people. But again, it goes in, it's tested, it goes to this amazing facility that's, the FDA says this should be the model for all production facilities of supplement companies in the world because it's pristine. And then they pray over each batch. And I know the people that do it. I know the intention.
Wow.
So I know the frequency. And so that's what you're talking about. You're getting a superior product that's beneficial to feed the garden of the gut, the enzymes, the herbs. It's just superfood products. Superfood is what it is, concentrated.
And if people want to buy those from you, you can give me a link, right? I'll put it down below, like your link for them. Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, because they're great. Like I don't use any products. Those are the only products I use, the Paradigm. And then now I started using the super cells and I love those too, but those are great.
I mean, I have been through all of it. I love herbs and teas, and I have a lot of, I love Shilajit. So I have a brand that I like to use. But, you know, and so for the foundation of my program, for the people that call me, because about half the people call me and they say, Dan, tell me what to do. Give me a protocol. That's where the protocols were born, you know, and that's what we use. It's very practical because it's herbs and it's superfoods and it's amino acids and it's a very good thing. And that's why, and I've had the last bit of negativity I've had is from people that otherwise love me, but say, I hate it when you sell stuff, you know?
But at the same time, like it's an amazing product that I feel like is really good for the body. And I mean, it's like you said, we don't live in a world where you can barter and it can't be produced for free, right? So it is what it is. I just think there's like people really get their nose up sometimes when you're selling something that has to do with health. And I don't really understand it because you're really helping people with it. It's a great product.
It's amazing how we'll spend hundreds of dollars on alcohol, cigarettes, on fast food, restaurants, and then somebody, but that is like I'm saying, like we're mentioning this because it's going behind me, you know, and you know, it's for obvious reasons. Like you don't yell at the guy at Walmart for getting a check. Why are you here stocking these shelves? Why do you want a paycheck? He's like, you're an idiot, you know? It's like everybody, and capitalism is awesome. I like it. Are there downsides to it? Of course. But dude, it's like, if you get up and you get out and you do something, you can do well. If you sit on your ass all day and you want socialism and communism money, then you got to do what mommy and daddy government tell you, which is what some people like. Some people like communism. They want to be told what to do, what to think, how to breathe, and they want their little loaf of bread and their one chicken per month, and then that's it. But there's dudes like me that are like, listen, I don't need your help. I'm a get up and go kind of a guy. I'll do what needs to be done. I'll sacrifice. I want to get up here. I'll produce. I'll create. And then I will be compensated for that. And then I can take a break and, you know, sit at the beach and relax. And do it all over again. And I can control my life. And so people literally do not know this, but I get 5 to 10 offers a week to sell stuff, all kinds of stuff. So in actuality, I think I'm doing very well by picking just a couple of things that I really love and use every day, you know, and that's how that is. And so I'm going to let that bother me less because it is, there's one part of me that wishes I was just like a monk that just sat there and people would gather around and I would speak the truth and either I'd get a bowl of rice or I wouldn't, you know? But right now I'm still at that phase of I got to manage all this myself. I have to earn an income for myself, and no one's going to do it for me. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go back on welfare, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't want anything from this government.
I feel like you deserve so much abundance and wealth. I feel like you'll attract that because I mean, to me, you help so many people. And to me, that's where people, if they want it, like find their way to the most abundant life by adding the most amount of value to the most amount of people they can. And I feel like that's exactly what you do.
And never give anyone a hard time for how they earn their living, because you
Mm-hmm.
don't know how many kids they got at home.
That's the
You don't know
thing.
why. In fact, none of us know why anyone is doing anything.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
So better to just shut up. You
Yeah,
know, you don't know why the God is doing what it's doing in that person's life,
you're
or
right.
what the plan is, or we can't resist what's put in front of us. Like you know, I was living in my truck again after Krista and I broke up, and it was her RV, it was her money, you know, and I was living in my truck, and I drove to California, and I saw Lou Corona, and I put him on a video, and then the next month I got an $800 check. Okay, and that changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just how that works. And that was God, because I needed something. And so, you know, we always, but it's just amazing how much money people will spend trillions of dollars on drugs and sickness and
Mm-hmm.
surgeries and cutting out their organs and suppressing their symptoms. But when somebody offers something that's actually adds life to the system instead of taking it away, but just people don't know. They'll be
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, it's organic, or this lifestyle is for a bunch of princesses. It's like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
I buy all organic food now. Why? Because I drive a crappy little car with 35 miles to the gallon. I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything. I don't want anything. This is the
Mm-hmm.
one shirt. I finally bought it just so that I could do my little academy over at the Elite Video Club. And white is not that good because of that white door. So I'm going to get some other colored ones, but there's nothing I want except wholesome food. So that's my priority. And then if you want to go out drinking and
Mm-hmm.
smoking and carrying on and playing video games and going to concerts, and then
Mm-hmm.
you get home and you're like, well, I can't afford to eat this way because I want it to
Mm-hmm.
be cheap, like a 99-cent burger, then that's just your priorities and not mine. You know, I want to eat this way, so the universe provides it. That's
Mm-hmm.
how it is. What are your standards? The
Mm-hmm.
universe will provide for you. So if
Mm-hmm.
you have low standards, then you get to play victim, you know. But if you raise your standards and raise your consciousness, the miracles can happen. It comes from within, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I live an abundant life because I am free.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing about my business with Ricky Breslin. I am free. With the
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, I am free. With Paradigm, I am free.
Mm-hmm.
I do not want to show up. I will.
Mm-hmm.
My ultimate dream is to buy a piece of land and start a firewood company. That's what I'm going to do.
Wow.
Chop and stack firewood and sell firewood.
Wow.
You know, I
That's
don't
great.
know. I don't think I mean, I miss Hawaii, but I don't think I'm going to go back because there's nowhere to live. I mean, I do have an apartment there, so I guess I can do that. But the whole communism thing has got me tripping. I mean, I'm thinking bug out, but it looks like the tide is finally turning. People are slowly beginning to realize, you know, what we've known the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And the Supreme Court is kind of helping us out, and there's some good stuff happening.
Maybe I'll ask you a couple more questions too from the viewers. Do you mind? Yeah. So someone wants to know, they said, Dan, I'm planning on becoming a raw food bodybuilder and I need protein. Is it advisable to be on a high protein raw vegan diet for this purpose?
If I was going to be a bodybuilder, I would go through at least a bag of natural protein once a week,
Mm-hmm.
and the Life Essentials.
Mm-hmm.
And I would make the yogurts and pre-digest the protein, and then you make the gorilla milk, and then you make the smoothies with the yogurt that has all 22 essential amino acids from pea, hemp, and goji.
Mm-hmm.
Plus it has inulin, which is good for blood sugar issues, and it's also a prebiotic fiber.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also got all the a protease enzyme to break down the protein in your gut once the water hits it, the liquid. And then it's got all 22 essential amino acids and 5 probiotics. So you're feeding your gut, and the surface area of that micronized protein allows the microbes to break down those amino acids that are already pre-digested, raw aminos, all 22 of them. So then your whole system is balanced because your glands need those 22 essential amino acids, and the microbes want them as well to produce all the different metabolites that then flow through your bloodstream after soaking through your gastrointestinal tract and end up at the proper glands, so that those glands have a reserve. And when then you need them in the middle of your workouts, your adrenals are working, your thyroid is working, your pancreas is working, your liver is working, everything is working because you've got all the raw material that you need, but it's all pre-digested, raw, micronized, highly available. And it's pretty brilliant. That's why Lou Corona can do 20 Superman push-ups and the average bodybuilder can't even do one. See, and do things. Now me, like I said, I eat the protein maybe 2 or 3 times a week. All I do pretty much, I do a little bit of weightlifting, but again, if I don't like to stress it because it affects the meditation and it affects the flow of energy. But I hope to train again one day. But the aminos keep your hair, teeth, bones, and skin strong. And like an average person would only need like 1, maybe 2 scoops.
I noticed that because I put those in my smoothie in the morning. When I have a smoothie, I put those products you're talking about, your products, in my smoothie, and my hair is so much stronger. Like I used to, sometimes I would feel my hair fall out a little bit in the shower when you're washing it. Now it never does, and it's like growing faster, and it's so much stronger just from that. I've noticed.
Where that's what Lou Corona is trying to tell everyone, and then I'm the shy guy who's like, I don't really want to sell anything, but this is what it is, and this is my experience. So that's something I'm going to have to reconcile within myself, because ultimately you already have everything within you, the life. But then we have to, that's the nature of this life, is getting something from outside yourself to bring it in to keep this thing alive. Thing has to have something. And we really don't know what that is. We don't know the minimum that it can do, and we don't know the maximum that it can do either. But most of us seem to need something. I think there are a couple of true breatharians on planet Earth. About 99.5% of them are fraud. And I mean, we're all breatharians. You know, but then they're like, well, I'm a breatharian and I just eat McDonald's cheeseburger every once in a while or whatever, but it's all BS. So let's just be, I try to be as real as I can, understanding that the principle is there, and we really do truly, oxygen is our #1 source of nutrition and life force. But if I was going to be a bodybuilder, I would put an emphasis on the aminos, and on the Paradigm Natural, and learn how to make them yogurts, and learn how to stir it into your smoothies, and to get that in there, and to make, like, if you really want to go concentrated, you can make these amazing hummus, red pepper. You take a couple red peppers and you put like a cup. So that's like a double dose, a cup or 2 cups. If I was a bodybuilder, I'd probably eat 2 cups of Paradigm Natural protein with the red pepper and whatever you want to do. You know, if you're not on a yogi diet, you can throw a clove of garlic in there and some sea salt and lemon and make these nice hummuses, and you can take your celery and carrots or whatever. But with, the same thing is just, you want to get enough of the rebuilding, and you want to make sure you get enough sleep. And at the same time, you want everything to digest so that you're efficient and your skin is clean and you don't smell bad. And so you use volume. It's like, if people could see how many oranges that I eat, like, I mean, I'm just a lightweight, but I eat like a bag of oranges a day. If yesterday, I ate a bag and a half of oranges in either juice And but that's all I had was oranges, and then the avocado and celery for dessert. Watching a really cool movie, Red Sparrow, was dope. And that was just so it's there. I mean, that's a subject that goes on and on. I mean, if you want to build muscle, lift heavy and sleep a lot. So that's what me and my brother used to do. Eat, lift, sleep, repeat. And then you'll build up, and that's in your, like I said, in your 20s and your 30s until you get married or get a girlfriend. Then you'll slow down a lot. But if you ain't getting none, you want to get in the gym and get big and get buff, you're going to attract someone. But that's your confidence is being built, and it's confidence that she's looking for, not your muscles. Some women do like bigger guys or whatever, but everyone's got their own taste. But it's really like your inner qualities and your confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, since we were talking about Lou, somebody wanted to know, what were the long-term effects of Lou Corona on you, Dan? They said, my guess is that Lou is the reason many people stay raw. I think there was a period where Dan was experimenting with different things. I wonder if he hadn't spent so much time with Lou that he would have maybe veered course.
Yeah, Lou will definitely remind you to stay raw. For sure.
That's good. And where else? Someone wanted to know your top 5 teachers. Do you have like top 5 like mentors or teachers that you could, if you have 5, I don't know.
Yeah, I do. Buddha, Ramana Maharshi, Nisargadatta Maharaj, Ramakrishna, and who else do I listen to a lot? Dr. Hawkins, David Hawkins. And now that's on the spiritual side, which is my emphasis. I kind of got the raw food thing down pretty well. It's like, eat simple. Don't make a big deal out of it. Just, nourish. But of course, high water, high liquids. I just like high water foods. I don't like to overeat, I do sometimes, stress or whatever. It's getting better and better all the time. I have a kind of a crazy, the last couple of years has been a little nuts. My system is finally starting to come back to center. It's hard to be a kind of an influencer when you're going through hell, I don't mind, but it's just, I don't want to hear, I get so much advice, and it's like, your advice will never be as good as my advice. Because I listen to this thing and I know that it knows where I'm going. So people will always be like, Dan, you need Jesus. And I'm like, what is that supposed to mean? You know what I mean? You want to put your concepts onto me and put me in the tighter prison. I'm trying to break out of the prison of concepts. You know what I mean? And so we're trying to find the freedom that we already have. We're the prisoner, and we're the jail cell, and we're the prison guard standing on the outside with the key saying, you can get out anytime you want. But we're like, well, I'm comfortable with these little concepts that are the prison bars that keep me safe. The prison bars keep you safe from outside. So imagine if you came out into the light. Oh my God, I'm totally responsible. Anything can happen. I'm out of control. I don't have control. So that's why we have religion and things like that. Eventually you transcend religion and you begin to seek the truth. And then you begin to relinquish the concepts that are relative truths, and you just surrender to the truth. And the mind is like, well, what are the concepts of the truth? Tell us what the truth is. It's like, I can't tell you what the truth is because you already are it. You are the truth. Your true self is the truth forevermore. It's already in you. There's no concepts. In fact, it's the concepts and the thinking that obstruct your experience of it. And everyone's going to have those moments, those near-death experiences, or high states of meditation, or deep dives during fasting, or you're on day 37 of a juice cleanse and you're like, holy shit, I can't believe how good I feel, and you're connected, or you're in the middle of a 18-mile run and you just hit the second wall, but you broke through it. Now you're like, you feel like you could run forever, like when you're out of the way, when the concepts and the mind, the thinkingness and the worry and all the different emotions and all the different subconscious, can you surrender? It's like, there is nothing better than surrender, but the ego is a formidable, it's kept you alive for billions of years. So it's not just going to just go away, so we have to slowly work with it and just really, with as much as possible, that with as much bhava, with as much love, with as much devotion as possible, be a true seeker of the truth. But most of us are happy with coffee shop concepts or nice Instagram posts, flowery little butterfly things around our face, and our tits hanging out, vagina in my face on Instagram, talk about all the spiritual things. But, which I love all those things, believe me, but real true spirituality isn't really that glamorous. There's nothing there really, it's just everything.
So
yes,
true.
there's high states, but there's the nothingness and the allness. But so it transcends the limited mind, and that's just what I think is really, really attractive to this soul. Is like, oh, I could be free forever from suffering and pain.
Yeah.
And it's like, but and if you haven't really suffered enough, then you won't really, you're getting away with it. You've got sex, and you got the food, and you got the money, and you got the fame. You've got enough dopamine that you don't need the serotonin. Eventually the dopamine relay system, there's not enough likes. I need to show, get another, a boob job and shove my tits further into the camera so I can get more likes. That's just a funny example, it's probably.
No, but it's true, really. Yeah.
You need it, and then you see that in yourself, and then you get on this thing, I got to get more likes, and it's like, I'm terrible at Instagram and Facebook. The thing is, I can do the videos.
Me too. Yeah.
I can do this. I can do this all day long. I don't know why.
And you rated it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been so great talking to you. Like, I appreciate it so much. And I want to know, like, maybe to end off, would there be anything you would say to people watching who might be struggling with their health or struggling maybe to stay on track with their health choices? Like, any words of encouragement or any advice or anything?
Some people are okay with okay health. Usually what we want is just to assuage our most predominant symptoms. But I don't know, it hit me pretty hard. We never did finish the story of me being on the street, drunk, stoned, it's raining, it's cold, I'm homeless, and I walk into the spiritual bookstore and I'm looking around, and this guy looks right at me and he goes, "You want to know the real truth?" And I go, well, yeah. And I'd never been in a spiritual bookstore in my life. I'm drunk, I'm stoned, it's cold, it's outside, raining in Seattle, of course. And he just handed me this $1 little book, The Essene Gospel of Peace.
I hear so much about that book. I haven't read it. So many people talk about that book.
Only costs $1. And I read that book within a couple days, and I was just infused with light. And my mind was like, this is what you're going to do. This is where you left off in your past life. I had no idea about past lives. I didn't even know what it was talking about. But I just resonated with it. And I just said, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to do this. I'm going to fast. I'm going to eat live foods. I had no idea what I was doing, man. I used to take whole wheat, put it in the blender, in the Vitamix, and grind it up, and then pour it on the griddle and make like what I thought were raw pancakes. But that's, and so that was, I didn't know any other raw people for the first 2 years.
Wow.
I was alone. I thought, but I just tried to do what the book said. And I got a couple of goats, because in the book it says to drink the milk of beasts and the honey of bees. you know, the fruits of the field, the grains of the fruits of the tree, the grains and the grasses of the field, the milk of beasts and the honey of bees, which I still believe is fine. We can live in harmony with the animals, whether it's bees or whether it's, I had goats, never would hurt them in my life. Definitely didn't want to eat goat meat, but hey, I had goat cheese and goat milk because I thought, where am I going to get my protein? So I read the book and I bought some goats, moved back home to my parents because after I went raw and was just eating salad, spinach salad with avocado, cucumber, tomato, and Bragg's poured over the top of it. And then I also learned how to soak sunflower seeds and make this pate thing. So I lived off that for God knows how long, and fruits, you know, and the juices.
So that's how you started going raw when you met that guy and he suggested the book to you? That's when you started to go raw?
I had already been juicing here and there, you know, like I said, with the juicer. But then I just read the book. I went back years later and I saw the guy at the bookstore. I went back to thank him.
Wow.
Years later. And he's sitting there eating white rice with chicken. And I said, thought that was good. And I said, hey, thanks for the book. And he goes, oh, was it good? And I go, yeah. And he goes, oh, well, I never read it, you know. So it was just a trip, you know. And I said, well, that's weird. You told me, you know. And he goes, well, I just guide the right person to the right book. So he was like enlightened, but he was kind of overweight, eating chicken and white rice. So, you know, he just guided me to that book that day. And it really, and here I am today, trying to do my best to live up to all the principles in that book and utilize the concepts or the teachings, if you will, to their fullest and maximize. And I have yet to reach the final beatitude yet after 21 years. And so I have failed my way to being more aware and of where I fall short and where I must shore up and strengthen, because I simply want to do my very best to fully heal. And if you've had a chronic headache all day, every day for 47 years, you want to keep trying. And you will learn a lot along the way. And then I was able to be a blessing to other people, because losing weight, getting rid of diseases is fairly easy. When you get down to the sclerotic, indurated, calcareous deposits of deeply embedded metals and synthetic chemicals lodged between the center of your brain and on the outsides as these deposits, because the brain has to store them, that can take a little bit more work. And I'm doing the work now. And it's, you know, if I had more money, I could accelerate the process. But most of the work is done here with this one. And then I've got some therapies that I'm using to break up these occlusions. Slowly but surely, I do a lot of the work myself, but not enough. And I did have to leave a couple of my friends that were expert rolfers on Kauai, and I have not been able to find anyone over here that understands this at all, because it's so very rare. And so anyways, I'm still working. And so if you have a chronic issue and you haven't given up yet, if you have, I totally understand that too, you know, like I'm reserved, you know, I'm 72, I'm cool. Like, I'm just gonna have fun. I like Dan McDonald's videos, they're entertaining, but I'm gonna drink my coffee, eat my pizza, you know, I'm 47 pounds overweight and I'm cool. And you know what I mean? You've made peace with it. And eventually everyone does, you know, Paul Bragg with his cheeseburgers, Norman Walker with his eggs, you know, Edmund Bordeaux-Skelle with his potatoes. In the end, you're just gonna, okay, you know. But if you're in the game, you know, and you wanna stay in the game, then you just, you know, it's, you just keep your standards high and you just keep going, and there's something gets implanted in you and you're not gonna be able to get rid of it. And so to ignore it is to your own peril. So if something is in you trying to tell you to get healthy, to regenerate, to lose weight, to heal your brain. That's basically mainly what I'm doing right now, is healing my brain and my nerves from a lifetime of being a junkie, exposed to chemicals, bad diet, abuse, and generations, 1,000 generations of pain. I did a 12-day water fast over there and came head to head with it.
Wow.
I was going to go 21 days, but then I could not handle that.
It must have been so intense. 12 days on water. Wow. That's why I've never done a water fast. That must have been so intense.
Water fasting is where the rubber meets the road. Water fasting is where the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual purification and regeneration really begins to take place. Dry fasting also, but you don't do that until later on in the game, after you've been on the path for quite a while. Most people can do a 3-day water fast without any major issues. Then you work your way up to maybe 5, then 7, then 10, then 14, then 21, then 28. And then once you've done, I went straight from 21 to 40 because I was like, okay, I can handle this.
Wow.
And now I know that's my next thing. But like I said, I came back and I was dead broke. And I did the video marathon and like got the Google AdSense, which I'll get soon. And I got a Paradigm and I got a bunch of consults. So thanks everybody for, just being generous and understanding. This is just my job. And I need to get up some money so that I can do the work. That's all I want to do. That's the only reason to have money. It's not for the hookers. It's not for the coke, it's not for the fancy cars or anything like that. Maybe eventually a piece of land, but it's so that I can just have this little yogi cave. I got a little dark room over there. I seal off the windows and I go in there and I meditate as much as I can. And I unravel this thing and I need some body work, but it's very expensive. So I can only do a little teeny tiny bit at a time. And I'm slowly chipping away at it, but I'm never going to give up because I believe one day I'm going to find this freedom and ease and peace, because this thing up here has bothered me all day, every day for 47 years. And I want to heal myself because my parents did not know better. And I never hit my kids, but they were raised on healthy food, and my kids are really healthy and smart, and they've got some of the stuff of the 1,000 generations of pain went into them because I was not ready. And so, but my ex-wife at 36, I was 23, her clock was ticking. She found this dumb breeding stallion. All you got to do is say the magic words of "come in me," and then you got yourself 9 months later. You know what I'm saying? But I also had the diet and the algae and everything else and the juicing at the time still. So then her uterus, which was not functional, actually healed itself. So that's how I knew I was a healer. Because I just, everywhere I'd go, I mean, even if it was spaghetti, way back then, it was organic grass-fed hamburger, damn it, and organic pasta, and I would make organic food.
Wow.
So then, bam, we do it. I remember the day, because there was only, there's 2 kids and there's 2 times, so
yeah.
I'm
You remember.
Stay away from me, and I will stay away from you. But my kids are really, really amazing, unique individuals, but the 1,000 generations of pain went to them as well. And that's the one thing I'd like to do before I leave this planet. We can forget all the spiritual stuff. We can forget all the food stuff, except in the context of, hey, mothers and fathers, please make some healthy children. So that they don't have to be like half retarded their whole life like I am and have to struggle, which is a beautiful thing because it's made me who I am, But also it'd be cool if this thing just went away because it's not pleasant. And I've had it all every day, and some days it gets worse than others. That's how I've had to become a health expert, is by managing my own symptoms. And then I've had to learn then you learn about the gut, then you learn about the heart, then you learn about the nerves, and you learn about the brain. Then you're trying to do all of it, and you're just trying to get it because you really believe, you really hope, and you pray every day, God, show me and it's showing me, and I had a horoscope this morning, which I never do, but she was right on, because sometimes, even though it seems like, and I'm like, it seems so slow, you know?
Yeah.
It's that, it knows what it's doing. If you have faith, it knows what it's doing, and you are growing, you're rooting in, and that way the roots are strong, and then when the plant grows, you know, instead of just, oh, you got one little root and bam, a big heavy tree. Well, you don't want to have success too fast. So what's happening with these changes that I'm going through, and these re-evaluations and regenerations in consciousness, and more what people would call discipline, but it's more like wisdom through the act of waking up to your own stupid crap. You know, you look and you suffer when you make the decisions, like, and the Buddha says, you know, do not do what you will regret. But don't we do that every day?
Yeah.
Pretty much daily, we do what we regret. Do what you will not regret. So mastering ourselves is what this is about. And it's not even about the diet, you know, per se. Like, I have carnivore friends, I have, you know, vegan friends, I have live food friends, whatever. I don't give a crap. The funny thing is, I'm going on and on today. I'm just sharing everything on this video. I might even put it on YouTube. But here's the thing. The carnivores forget that we wouldn't be here without the fruits and the herbs. And the vegans forget that we wouldn't be here without the meat. So thank God for meat. Thank God for fruits and vegetables, because as a species, we made it this far. Thank God for good food.
True. Yeah.
The weird stuff that would be like, oh, this dirty, nasty root is disgusting. But there's a lot of it. And if you put it on the fire, it kind of caramelizes it and makes it sweet. Then you feed the microbes, and we make it through the fucking winter, you know? But otherwise, we'd be chewing on this thing and be miserable, it'd be terrible. So thank God for cooked food. Thank God for meat. Thank God for animal products. Thank God for fruits. Thank God for vegetables. Thank God for all of it, because here we are now. Now we can go to Sprouts. Now we can go to Whole Foods. Now we can go to Safeway, and we can make all kinds of choices and feed this thing and absorb, you know, the food juices of whatever we want that make our consciousness, that makes the body, and we can make it whatever we want. And you can go primal and eat nothing but meat, and that's fine. I see the meat guys are really into like primal stuff. And then like the little vegan guys are like light, oh, you know. But it doesn't mean we don't have balls, big fat balls full of power. We do. Some of us, especially if we get enough fat and protein and get enough sleep and don't waste our energy. I've already seen the beauty. It's been this, I mean, I had the 2020 and 2021 was, I got ground down to death. I was hopelessly hopeless. And
me too. They were the worst years of my life. Yeah.
I mean, but it was kind of because of that, but kind of not too though. But it was the whole thing. But now, you know, it's blossoming. And like, it's like, what's going to come out of this? It looks like people really want more help, and people are getting, I'm getting more consults, and people are going to want to know, how do I detoxify this stuff? And I'm going to get little products. And so I'm going to be blessed, because people are finally interested in health.
It's so true. That's the key, you know, it's so simple. Yeah.
I love it. I go outside, and dude, I was already in the river this morning, 28 degrees, and then this ice cold river. And then I go and I get just sun, cold, hot, clean, you know, enzymes, keep it clear. If you overeat, blast the enzymes. I just stay on top of it, because it's good for everything. It's good for your brain. It's good for everything. So you got to keep yourself cleared out, cleaned out. If you owe a debt to nature, like all the people do, and they go raw vegan for 3 weeks. Dave Asprey's my favorite, the bulletproof coffee guy. He went raw vegan for 3 weeks and felt his feelings and decided that didn't work. You know, but he hit the wall. So many of our brothers and sisters have hit the wall because they came up to those indurated calcareous deposits, where all these toxic biomemories are stored, emanating a frequency, driving you back to old habits, old patterns, old beliefs, and old, you know, eating and stuff. And then when you eat that, you're comfortable, but it's not really the answer to real, true, radiant freedom, which is like having a clean baby body that hasn't been toxified from every angle, every side, with every chemical and pollutant and plasticide and hormone blocking disruptors and everything else. We are living in a toxic soup. And so I use all the tools I've got at my disposal. I mean, I'm 47, and like you said, I do want to have kids. I mean, maybe, you know, I never really met the right woman because I'm a kind of a freak, you know, but I really need to be loved unconditionally, not like, here's the rules of society's relationships. Live in my prison now, you know.
Yeah.
I need to be Dan, and he needs huge amounts of space.
Me too.
Know,
yeah.
Be himself. Hey, maybe we should.
Yeah. You're so funny. Yeah. No. Yeah. So true though. Relationships are hard, right? They're hard. They're not easy.
Well, because relationships are funny in that, you know, you're always fighting unless you're making love.
Yeah. I know.
Because me man, you woman, you know, you want the new woman. He's like, you know, masculine and feminine, you know, and then it's like, how the hell are we supposed to reconcile that, you know?
Yeah.
And then when we are together, like intimate, you know, then it's like all that's gone for a little while. So God and nature do what they were doing. So to have a peaceful, harmonious relationship, it takes a lot of like, you gotta really be there.
Yeah.
If you don't have that communication, you know, because a lot of guys, they have to kind of stuff their guyness in the back of their brain, and like, you know, their wife can't know it. If your wife went through your head, you pervert, you know. But that's man brain. You want to tell your wife, oh my God, my brain is a pervert. I'm a terrible person.
Yeah.
You know, biology, it made me this way. I'm so sorry. You know, you can get control of it, but it's like spiritual mastery. So until then, you know, everyone needs to be real nice, because it's like we're all really dealing with billions of years of biology, you know, and it just hijacks you. And this whole relationship thing and all the hormones, first year, you're retarded, you're like, oh my God, everything's amazing. And then actually, then you start to wake up and like, oh, sometimes you're a real dick. You know, I know, I'm sorry, child, but the hormones start to wear off.
Yeah.
Start to wake up, and it's like, it's just
sometimes it's just easier not to be in a relationship, just to live alone. And I don't know.
I know, I gotcha. That's true, but we can't, you know, I'm sure there's a million people watching this that could say all kinds of things like, yeah, my husband, we're tight, or we figured out how to do it, or you're right, you know. And so I'm not saying I have all the answers. There's still a part of me that, you know, I mean, I fell in love once when I was 17, and I totally screwed that up, and then I just never recovered.
Wow.
I have these issues that I'm working through. And that's like the 1,000 generations of pain and self-worth.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that is also being addressed through this work that I'm doing, of just sitting there and having the self-worth and the self-love and feeling that I am worthy, you know, of attracting that maybe.
Yeah.
You know, so it's pretty much a trip, you know.
Yeah.
So that's another reason to stay motivated and stay on your game with the food, so that you know, can
attract the right person too. Yeah.
To really have a great relationship without all the drama, but not so old that you can't get it up anymore. You know? So perfect stage right now. Everything's the perfect stage. Wherever everyone is, you're at the perfect stage. We're right there right now, and it's perfect.
It's so true. Well, I guess we'll end it on that. This has been so awesome talking to you. Thanks so much for, thanks for being on and sharing everything. And it's been a true pleasure. It's been awesome. So I really appreciate it. And to all the viewers watching, I hope you've loved it, totally enjoyed it. If you have, give this video a big thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.